at the last, Captain Vikram Batra was standing. And once I went him, firm handshake, and he gave me a hug, and he was just about to hug me, and he said, "गले लगना यार, न जाने कौन सी मुलाकात आखिरी होगी." सब डॉक्टर ने उठने से मना किया हुआ है, बट वो देखिए 0.4875 पे तिरंगा लहरा रहा है. That was one moment in my life I felt कि Naveen, whether you live, whether you die, that is not of consequence. The fact of the matter is, the mission has been accomplished. The task has been completed. We have won 4875, and I could see the tricolor.
Soldiers usually carry gun not to start the war but to end it. आजकल इंस्टा में get ready with me चल रहा है कि like people get ready, put makeup and all that they wear is shown. But how does a soldier get ready for the war?
Physical body gives up, then your mental state takes on. So we are making your mental state strong. In the bargain, what is happening is your body is also gaining strength.
And this is only giving comment to this.
Yes. It was like everything started flashing in front of my eyes. My parents' face, my brother, my sisters, it was like flashing in front of my eyes. In those circumstances also, I'm thinking the grenade is going to take off any time. Captain Naveen Nagappa will not be there after that. The moment my parents get to know about this, they'll be heartbroken, they'll be devastated. And India should go all out. We should go all out to see to that around 40% of the land mass of Pakistan is separated and becomes a new nation. एक टाइम था जब हमने बांग्लादेश को सेपरेट किया, ये टाइम अभी आ चुका है कि बलूचिस्तान को सेपरेट करना चाहिए.
We have seen war footages on screen. He has fought a war. We fear death. He has faced death. We love our country, but he has lived for our country. Today on Just Curious, it is truly an honor to host Captain Naveen Nagappa, Kargil War veteran, somebody who has explored life with a lot of courage, dreams, commitment, and a divine blessing, I would say. So firstly, sir, welcome to Just Curious. How are you?
Thanks, Rashmi. Thank you so much for giving me this platform. Indeed, happy, mighty thrilled. We've all talked about Operation Sindoor, the effects of what India has shown, the prowess of India to the world. Mm-hmm. So mighty happy.
Firstly, when I was going through your profile, I think in 1999 you joined the army, and I think 6 months right after that is when you joined the Kargil War, and amongst 527 soldiers who lost their lives, you're one who kind of survived. And looking at your foot, the left foot is, I think part of it is completely gone, and the right foot has a different story again, a grenade coming in between your leg. An introduction of this sort as to what all you've been through life itself is a shock, and at the same time, a big salute to your grit and the way you've taken life and survived till today to, relive the story and be a hero amongst us, sir.
Thank you. Indeed, God has been really kind to me. I always say this, that as you just mentioned, 527 soldiers sacrificed their lives. And I could have been 527 plus 1. The grenade blasting so close to my feet, and I still survived that blast. So probably God has saved me with a purpose, and probably I presume that the purpose was those 527 soldiers didn't come back from the battlefield. There's nobody to narrate their stories, narrate their experiences. Mm-hmm. Probably God has saved me with the purpose that I come back and narrate their stories. The pain, the agony, the suffering, the sacrifice of the soldiers need to be brought in front of the public. That's what I intend doing.
Firstly, I think you volunteered for Kargil War for 6 months after your joining date, I guess. Why is this a natural choice, or you volunteered, or it was a placement given by them? What was it, sir?
Okay, let me put it across this way. I joined my unit in January 99. The unit was 13th Battalion Jammu and Kashmir Rifles. Mm-hmm. To put it on record, in the history of independent India, there is only one unit which has, in a single battle, has won 2 Paramveer Chakras. That is my unit, 13th Battalion Jammu and Kashmir Rifles.
Wow.
So mighty happy with that. I always say again, to reiterate the point, that God has been kind to me, that I got posted to such a battalion which was going to create wonders in the next 6 months. So as I said, January 99 I joined in a place called Sopur. That was in the midst of J&K. So to say, we were not on the border, we were not on the line of control. We were into counter-insurgency operations.
What is counter-insurgency?
Counter-insurgency, there are certain hotbed of militant activities which happens in Jammu and Kashmir.
Okay.
In the late 90s, so it was at its peak. So counter-insurgency is like, controlling the militant activities. We were into that. We were not on the line of control. We were not actually eyeball to eyeball with the Pakistani soldiers as such. So for the next 6 months, from January to May, for the next 5 months, in those 5 months, we were into counter-insurgency. And it was during May 99, the Kargil War commenced. That was the time we were given a call that you should come and deploy ourselves in the on the line of control in the Kargil area, in the Kargil sector, since the war was on. Coming to a point of, why did I volunteer? My entire unit was there. We were tasked to attack a particular feature, that is 5140. Probably we'll talk about it subsequently. Point 5140, this attack was led by Captain Vikram Batra and Captain Sanjeev Singh Jambwal.
Right.
So, comprehensive victory in the first 48 hours. We won that battle of point 5140. And then I was wondering, so near yet so far. I was so damn close. Imagine the last war which was fought. We are talking about before Kargil. That's 99 Kargil War. Before that, the last war which was fought was in 1971.
China?
1971 was India-Pakistan.
India-Pakistan. China was 62.
62.
Yeah.
71 and the Bangladesh created history in a matter of a fortnight. We broke Pakistan into two, and history was created. Bangladesh, a new country was born. 71 was the last war which was fought before 99. In the intervening period, people have joined, people have retired. They have not gone, they have not been fortunate enough to see the battle. They might have gone into counter-insurgency operations. They would have seen some action which is happening. But a battle is a battle, a war is a war. So I was wondering, I have come so close. I'm in a battalion which is other companies, getting a chance to lead the attack, but how am I not getting? And imagine, point 5140 was the first attack. The subsequent attack was point 4875. Even then, I was not selected to lead the battle.
Why?
I'll tell you. My commanding officer was Colonel Y.K. Joshi, who happened to retire as an army commander. And the top 6, he was in the top 6 of Indian Army. He retired at that rank. So he was my commanding officer then. He did not select me. I was also taken aback since I did not. The second attack was also, I was not selected. I went to him. Actually, in the army, there is a process. If you have to approach your commanding officer, you can't straight away walk up to your top boss and say, boss, mujhe bhi jana hai. There's an adjutant, there's a 2IC, you first go and meet them. He will see what it is, then he'll convey it to commanding officer, then he'll be called.
What are the factors they'll consider before they okay you to join
the war? I was just telling, generally, you can't approach your commanding officer directly. Any matter, you have to put across any grievance, anything. For that matter, you'll have to follow that channel. But in this case, what happened is, ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा क्या होगा? Punishment मिलेगा, ले लेंगे punishment, क्या दिक्कत है उसमें? So I straight away went to the commanding officer and asked him, sir, आप मुझे क्यों नहीं भेज रहे हो? And what he said me actually opened my eyes. Not that I was not aware of it, but the way he put it across, he is a tough nut to crack. A commanding officer is a commanding officer. He is a boss. एक बार कह दिया types. He was a very tough nut to crack. But I was very persistent. And the first thing what he said was, Naveen, you are put in 6 months of service. I had joined in January, now we are in June. 4th of July, we are yet to set to launch the attack. So with just 6 months of service, I was called the baby of the battalion because, with a service bracket of 5 months, what it is 5 months after all. So he said, you are just put in 5 months of service. You are leading 120 men into the battlefield. Unless you gain their confidence, how are you going to lead them into the battlefield, firstly? And the second aspect was, your one order, one command is a matter of life and death of a Jawan. Are you willing to take this responsibility? So I said, sir, I am willing to take this responsibility. And finally, he agreed. And I was mighty thrilled that I got the opportunity to lead the attack on point 4875.
Sir, ये point 4875 and point 5140 point is the peak.
Absolutely. What happens is there are from Srinagar to Leh highway. If you go through that highway, you will come across thousands of peaks. So not every peak can be named. Tololing you would have heard, Tiger Hill you would have heard about it. But not every peak can be named. So how we identify a particular feature is by its altitude. And say 0.5140, that effectively means it is 5,140 meters above sea level.
So now, what was it to lead a team of 120 Jawans, and what does it actually mean if you're a captain, and what is your day looking like before getting into the war?
Now, I'd like to touch upon a very, not exactly a sensitive topic, but people need to know, the audience need to know what goes through a soldier's mind before you get into the battlefield, how
True
we
that.
interact with them.
True
Imagine you're leading 120 men into the battlefield, and all of us know that not everyone, each one of us will come back, and even if we come back, we may not come in the same physical state.
And mental state.
Definitely not in the mental state. Physical state may change, may not change, but your mental aspect is definitely going to take a beating. So there are certain I had a meal with my men. The 4th July was the D-Day for the attack. I had meal with my men. दोपहर का हमने खाना खाया साथ में, and that is the time you address your troops. The addressing your troops, the letting know the plan, who is going to rehearsal, war gaming, everything happens before that. On the day of the attack, it's a very emotional moment. We are all charged up at the same time, but there are some certain emotions which are also running.
Unsettled emotions.
Yeah. So what happens is everybody has its own way of motivating. Every unit has its own set of formalities. War cry is also there, of course. The set of formalities are like there's something called unposted letters. Unposted letters is 120 men of you have to address 120 of your men who are standing in front of you. You'll have to tell them you write a letter. In case you come back from the battlefield, that will be returned back to you. In case you don't come back from the battlefield, that letter will be handed over whomsoever addressed it to.
The family or whoever it is.
Whoever it addressed to. Now let's pause for a minute and think. Touch wood, God forbid if something, none of us should come through this, go through this. But if you and me had to, any of your audience had to go through this situation where you...
Last letter.
Whom are you going to address? What are you going to write? How are you going to mention? What are you going to communicate in that letter? There are people wrote that letters, or deposited. Before that, to communicate that you write this letter. I was under the impression I was mentally very strong, I can face any kind of a situation. But telling your own troops that you write a letter in case you don't come back from the battlefield, that effectively means that you may not come back from the battlefield. Looking into their eyes, communicating that you may not come back from the battlefield is a very arduous task. Not a small thing, it's very difficult. But however, as a team leader, you have to do it. I did that. I wrote a letter, deposited my all my team members, they also deposited their letters. And the second formality what we follow is we deposit all our belongings, be it our rank, be it our name tab, wallets, whatever we have, whatever is necessary, only that is taken. Primarily for two reasons. First one is, we don't want to add an extra gram of weight because you're climbing a hillock, taking around 25-30 kgs. That itself is a task. So you don't want to add on more weight to it. And secondly, if you are wearing your rank, if you are wearing your name tab, if you are carrying your identity card, in case, God forbid, you are taken prisoner of war, what happens? Your rank, your name, your unit, your IC number, everything will get revealed. And the moment they know you are an officer, they'll try to extract that much of information for you. So we take out everything. Again, it looks very simple to a normal audience. It looks very simple. What's so great about it? You deposit, you come back, you take it. But I'll tell you, Rashmi, there are people who have opened their wallets, intensely gazing at it and tears rolling down their eyes. Just imagine what would have been going through their minds. Probably, they would be thinking, if they have to breathe their last, some god-forsaken place, some, hillock at thousands of miles away from their house. Forget about talking to their parents, to the near and dear ones, to the children, to his wife. Forget about talking to them, feeling them. He will not even be able to see the photographs. That is the kind of situation, that's the kind of mentality we go through. But as I said, this remains only till, as you rightly brought out, every unit has a war cry. My unit war cry was Durge Mata Ki Jai.
Durge Mata Ki Jai.
Durge Mata Ki Jai. Before any task, be it a small, before we commence a game also, we call Durge Mata Ki Jai. And I tell you, once I called Durge Mata Ki Jai and 120 people behind me calling Durge Mata Ki Jai, what an electrifying atmosphere it was. Probably till then, the fear of uncertainty is there. We are going, how long it's going to take. It's not that we are afraid of the attack, it's fear of uncertainty. How long it's going to take, how many of us are going to come back, how many of us have to be assisted to come back. All these uncertainties are there. Once the war cry is called Durga Mata Ki Jai, there was only one thing in our mind. Come what may. The tricolor has to be hoisted on point 4875. That was the only thing in our mind. That is how the Kargil War commenced for us.
Wow. Just listening to these stories, I have goosebumps literally, and I really don't have a reaction as to genuinely I'm almost tearing up to it, just just to feel those emotions, and what you all would have gone through emotionally and physically. But still you have the objective, you have to serve the nation. That's a choice that you've made. I mean, you also spoke about war gaming, right? We are curious to know, what are these war gaming?
War gaming is, before you launch an attack, there's something called reconnaissance. Reconnaissance is basically, we study that area. A feature has to be attacked. A feature just short of that, which is within our territory, which is in our control. We go in the night, plonk ourselves in the night. Before the day breaks, you are already there. The entire day we watch them without moving our hands. We just watch them, so that we don't want to make noise. We want to make movements so that we become visible to the enemy. We stay wherever we are. One feature behind the feature which we are going to attack. The entire day we observe them, and we just chalk out a plan. In case we have to attack, what is the route we have to take? In case, we just also observe how many people are there, what are the arms and ammunitions they are carrying, is there any kind of duty handover, duty change or something which happens. If we have to attack, which way is the easiest attack? In case we have to casualty evacuation basically. In case somebody gets hurt, how do we going to retrieve him back? All these are discussed. And once we come back, it's all part of war gaming. We actually practice that. We don't fire, but who is going to give covering fire? He goes and sits there. He sort of gives a covering fire without actually firing. The other team moves ahead. The sort of casualty evacuation is also rehearsed. Somebody gets shot. There are two people who are suddenly there are two people who come put you on a stretcher and drag you towards the rear. All these we actually rehearse. That's it's called war gaming, and it doesn't restrict to the unit which is going to attack. Artillery shelling which is going to happen, the artillery shelling, we also presume that there's some methodology where we devise that somebody is putting an artillery shell, correctly they stop at the right moment, and then the infantry takes on. All this is part of war gaming.
Nice. Sir, I think being a South Indian, I've only seen in the movies like Border and other movies wherein the camaraderie between the soldiers, the captains, and basically defense people with different ranks and labels. The way you all write letters to your family members, and the kind of jokes that happens in the dorm rooms and all of that. Is it exactly how they show in the movies, or what actually happens? Like in your case, yes, you've been alongside Captain Vikram Batra. The movie Shersha is out there. A lot of things we've seen. And you were also with Rifleman Sanjay Kumar. So what is it like in your dorm, or what is the whole area called, camp?
No, when we were actually deployed in the Kargil War, there was we were sleeping in the open. There was nothing, no cover, because the whole lot of units were mobilized. And we didn't have, of course, you'll not have for those many Jawans, you will definitely not have the kind of accommodation we generally need. And in a warlike scenario, we were trained to do those things. Matlab, sleep in the open is just a cake walk for us. So we slept in the open, and To talk about the camaraderie, or per se, to talk about the lighter mood out there. What happened when we were, as I told you, we were in a place called Sopur, and once from Sopur we were inducted there. I still clearly remember, I was in one of the vehicles. We were moving towards, we left our unit in Sopur. We crossed Srinagar, we crossed Zozila Pass, and subsequently we were, just entered that Kargil area. Once you cross the Zozila Pass, you enter that actual battlefield. Cross that Zozila Pass, and we had moved certain distance, and the shelling was on. Left, right, and दूर पहाड़ी के ऊपर shelling हो रहा था.
The shelling usually is what, sir? Like the army, matlab the opposition and the nation is at counter fire. Huh?
Yeah. Basically, shelling is to make the audience understand in a layman's term. I'm sure everybody would have seen about, heard about Bofors, seen them on the TV. Bofors guns, these are artillery guns. You have a big barrel out there, and it ejects a gola. That's an artillery gun.
The long ones.
Yeah. Those are the artillery guns. It has got a caliber of 155 mm. It generally has a range of 30 kilometers.
The bullet can go up to 30 kilometers.
Yes,
Crazy.
the projectile. Yeah. So the enemy at times, the line of control from the road, at certain areas it's 30 kilometers, at certain areas it's 5 kilometers. It's easy for the enemy to fire an artillery gun. So artillery gun, and the difference between an artillery gun and a missile is, a missile, it's an artillery gun cannot be controlled. Once you fire, it's out of the barrel. Matlab it'll go to the particular range, and it'll go to a particular distance, and then by gravity it'll fall. You cannot control that.
So you can't aim a particular target?
You can aim, but it's not so accurate.
So once it is out, you can't control, like in a missile. You can't
in a
target.
missile, in a UAV, cannot control that. You can control a missile, you can control a UAV. You can give corrections to that. But here, आपने एक बार गोला मार दिया, मतलब it depends on lot of factors. The air resistance, the height which you are trying to fire, the wind conditions, it all depends on that. तो artillery shelling हो रहा था. एंड जैसे हमने एंटर किया, मतलब हम देख रहे कि इस तरफ उस तरफ दोनों तरफ आर्टिलरी शेलिंग हो रहा था. मेरा जो जीसीओ पीछे बैठा हुआ है, ही सेड साहब कहाँ फंस गए हम, कहाँ आ गए, मतलब ये तो पूरी जगह पे शेलिंग हो रहा है. मैंने कहा साहब चिंता मत करो, 21 तोपों की सलामी मिल रहा है, शान से अंदर घुसते हैं. तो घुसे हम शान से अंदर, वहाँ पे हम लोग डिप्लॉयड हुए. एंड व्हाट हैपेंस इज, माय यूनिट 13th Battalion Jammu and Kashmir Rifles, the troops are basically from Himachal. So Himachalis basically are accustomed to this kind of atmosphere. Pahadi. But for me, it was like, in the army at high altitude warfare, in the mountain warfare, what happens is your body has to get acclimatized. At 10,000 feet, you stay there for 3, 4, 5 days. Then you go to 12,000 feet, and subsequently you go up this thing altitude, so that your body is used to it. But in my case, being a South Indian, didn't have any पहाड़ी, मतलब वो कभी देखा नहीं था उस इतना altitude. So once we entered there, all my my seniors, they were making fun of me कि मतलब हम तो यहीं के नॉर्थ इंडियन हैं, हम तो पहाड़ चढ़ जाएंगे, साला तू तो तंबी है. फॉर फौज में क्या होता है, एनीबडी डाउन साउथ इन द सेंस महाराष्ट्र नीचे जो होता है सारे तंबी होते हैं. तो स्टार्टेड टेलिंग मी कि साला तू तो तंबी है, तू कैसे चढ़ेगा. मैंने कहा सर मौका मिलने दो, आपसे जल्दी चढ़ के जाऊँगा. एंड दीज आर लाइट एटमॉस्फेयर्स. बट अकेडमी के बारे में पूछो, दैट इज अ डिफरेंट बॉल ऑल टुगेदर. वी हैड सच ब्लडी क्रेजी फन आउट देयर, पार्डन माय लैंग्वेज. वी हैड crazy, it's really crazy. It's hard.
Explain. Can you walk me through your good old days?
Okay, if we want to talk about the academy, it was 1 year training for us. Okay, the day I entered Indian Military Academy Dehradun, it was like a cultural shock to me.
Why?
I tell you, cultural shock in the sense I didn't have any defense background, didn't have an inkling, didn't have a clue ki what's going to happen in the Indian Military Academy. You go there, the first day जो movie में दिखाते ना, वो सच दिखाते. You go there, the first thing is they'll almost tonsure your head. That hardly hair left on your head. That happens the first day. And the first night you get to sleep for 6-7 hours, and gradually it keeps reducing. In a day, if you get 2 to 3 hours of sleep, it's a luxury.
What?
Yeah, seriously. And
During the training period.
during the training period, it's so tough. But let me tell you, you in the Indian Military Academy, just imagine in IMA, to put it in a shorter terms, IMA Dehradun, you enter there as a civilian,
Hmm.
train for 1 year as a gentleman cadet, and once you are out of the Indian Military Academy, imagine what all you would have assimilated, what all you would have learned. You learn military tactics, you learn military history, you know how to handle a gun, you know how to strip it open to the last nut and bolt, even if you're blindfolded.
Oh wow.
The reason behind that is, अंधेरे में आप अगर कोई लड़ाई लड़ रहे हो and your weapon goes faulty, there's no light. How are you going to do that? You have to practice it blindfolded. Not only that, you have to learn obstacle jumping. You have to running, jumping, obstacle course. You have to learn that. Apart from that, you are an officer as well. Your social standing will be something people will be looking at you. So they teach you how to hold. Nowadays it's very common. 25, we are talking about 25-30 years back, spoon fork कहाँ यूज करते थे हम? There's hardly. तो वहाँ पे वो भी सिखाया जाता है कि सूप कैसे पीते, बनाना पील कैसे करते. मतलब you can't peel up, just can't peel a banana with your bare hands.
What?
Yeah, you'll have to use a knife and peel this thing. All these things were something this has to be put into you within just 1 year.
Crazy. So social manners,
Military history, military tactics,
guns, obstacle jumping, discipline.
Yeah, horse riding, swimming, yoga, boxing.
So you are like literally in a school with 10 periods in a day. Like every hour there is a separate session.
Yes, you are running from one class to another class to another class to another class. You keep running, you keep moving. The basic idea is, फौज में एक idea ये है कि if you, an idle mind is a devil's workshop, everybody knows that, we actually put into practice. If you leave someone कि मतलब ये सोचने लगा कि मैं कहाँ आ गया, मैं कहाँ फंस गया, मैं क्या कर रहा हूँ, the training is so tough कि अगर आप 1 साल का ट्रेनिंग कर रहे हो कि 90 days पहले शुरू हो जाता है, the countdown starts and we write it on the notice board, 90 days to go, 89 days to go, 87 days to go, ऐसे नीचे आते हैं. But let me tell you something. Earlier you spoke about camaraderie. The last day is something called passing out parade. Passing out parade होता है, a majestic chatut building is there. वहाँ पे आप drill करते हो. Your entire family is watching you. You are that drill square में your entire family is sitting and 500 cadets are doing drill.
Wow.
And once they stamp, it is not the tuck 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 tuck. You never hear the sound. It is tuck. Once you stamp, 500 people stamping a boot means it's one sound. And once you do that, once you complete your drill, you enter that building through slow march. Chatut building के अंदर आप slow march में जाते हो. And there are 2 steps there. And on the second steps, they have written Antim Pag. That's the last step.
क्या है वो क्यों है?
That is, once you cross that means you have completed your training part. Your training is completed. You would be wearing a drill dress then. You go back to your rooms. You change in the officer's uniform. You change in the officer's uniform. You get commissioned as a lieutenant. उस टाइम पे आपके कंधे पे 2 तारे होते हैं. 2 stars on your shoulders. It is covered. You come to there is a building. You come there and you take a oath. You take a oath stating that, in short, you state that you will uphold the territorial integrity of the nation even to the peril of your life. That means even if you give your life, you are willing to give your life to uphold the integrity of the nation. मरते दम तक बिल्कुल. And then you come down, you go to your parents, and your parents will take out the covers.
Aww.
And it is when I went through this, I could see that spark in my the sparkle in my parents. But I still remember my father had told me. Hubli, I'm from a place called Hubli, Dharwad district.
Yes.
So he was sort of a personality there. People knew him, and he told me कि मतलब ಇಲ್ಲಿವರೆಗೂ ನವೀನ್ ನಾಗಪ್ಪನ ಮಗ ಅಂತಿದ್ರು, ಇವತ್ತು ನಾಗಪ್ಪ ಅವ್ರನ್ನ ನವೀನ್ ಅವ್ರ ತಂದೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. ಐ ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ರೆಕಗ್ನೈಸ್ಡ್ ಬೈ Captain Lieutenant Naveen ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರು. I was so happy that day. And once they took out the cover, I felt कि मतलब अब मैं ऑफिसर बन गया हूँ. एंड वहाँ से जब आप डिपार्ट करते हैं ना रश्मि, आई टेल यू, हम डे वन से ये सोच रहे थे कि ट्रेनिंग कब कंप्लीट होगा, व्हेन विल बी आउट ऑफ दिस, व्हेन विल बी कंप्लीट ट्रेनिंग, एंड द डे यू आर मूविंग आउट, देन यू फील कि मतलब इतने सारे लोग एक साथ ट्रेनिंग कर रहे थे, अभी हम लोग मतलब विल डिस्पर्स, वी विल नेवर गेट दिस अपॉर्चुनिटी टू बी टुगेदर अगेन, एंड एट द सेम टाइम देयर विल बी समबडी, just a matter of time, he'll not be amongst us. So mixed feelings.
सर यूजुअली ट्रेनिंग में कितने सारे लोग होते हैं एक साल में?
Academy we had around 500 odd people. So every 6 months around 500 officers pass out, depending upon the vacancies. During our time it was around 500.
So आपको ये in the whole training period, what was something that really tested you and you almost kind of thought कि I have to give this up now? Any moments?
बहुत ऐसा होता है, मतलब lot of times, I'll tell you in this thing, comprehensively. Once we enter the Indian military IMA, we have set certain barriers.
As in
the sense कि मुझे 16 किलोमीटर अगर दौड़ना है, मैं नहीं दौड़ सकता. अभी तो मैराथन का ज़माना है, people run a lot. 25-30 years back, running was rarity. You hardly saw anybody. Apart from people who are into athletics, who are into running, they were, apart from that, not a single soul would run. है ना, we have set a barrier, मतलब 16 किलोमीटर मैं नहीं भाग सकता. अगर मुझे 5 किलोमीटर्स भागना है विदाउट शूज, विद दैट बैग, विद दैट वेपन, within those specified 20 to 23 minutes, we had set up a barrier कि मेरे से नहीं हो सकता. अगर आपको 3 रात गुजारना है कोई पहाड़ी पे without any shelter, without food, without water, मतलब it was unimaginable. But what they do is, in the IMA, they expose you to your capabilities. They let you know कि मतलब what is your body capable of. You'll have to break those barriers and create a new person.
Your own inhibitions are like taken away.
They are taken away, and once you are out of the Indian Military Academy, as I told you, you are one of the finest officers, one of gentlemen, the nation has ever seen.
Yep. So सच में आप दिन में 16 kilometers भागने का एक ताकत, मतलब you'll achieve it by the time you're out of IMA every day. 16
You see, your physical body gives up, then your mental state takes on. So we are making your mental state strong. In the bargain, what is happening is your body is also gaining strength.
And this is only giving command to this.
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you, sir, for walking us through what happens in the academy. Thanks for giving us an emotional tour there. Now, with this background, when you had to go into the war, again, thanks for walking us through what goes through your mental and emotional state. उसमें एक और डाउट है कि आप लोगों का खाना पीने का ये सब क्या होता है वॉर के टाइम में?
In my case, I'll give an example of my unit only. 4th July was the D-Day for the attack. 4th July, we had to launch the attack. मतलब रात का अंधेरा हो गया, मतलब the attack is on. We set for the attack. And 4th afternoon, I had meal, interacted with my men, all the plan was explained, how are we going to attack, who's going to carry light machine gun, medium machine gun, heavy machine gun, rocket launcher, the radar set, what will be the frequency of the radar set, what will be the password, what will be the code, password which has to be set at a particular time, who will do the casualty evacuation. Everything was explained, and 4th night, andhera hote hi, we set out for the attack. And once I say we are set out for the attack, when we attacked 4875, it is not that, at the pinnacle, at the top of the feature, there are few enemies sitting there, 4-5 आदमी बैठे हुए, enemy बैठे हुए, ऐसा नहीं है. It's a huge hillock. So, it is very well guarded. Wherever there is a ridge line, wherever there is a possibility of us to venture there and attack, they would have built bunkers and sangars there.
Pakistanis.
Yes. So, you have to cover, clear one by one, and only then reach the pinnacle.
कितने स्टेप्स थे, मतलब कितने बंकर्स पार करके आपको ऊपर तक जाना था?
पिनाकल जाने के लिए तो 7-8 बंकर क्लियर करना था, एंड रफली अराउंड किसी एक बंकर में एक बंदा हो सकता है, किसी बंकर में 3-3 बंदे होते हैं गार्ड करने के लिए, इफ इट्स अ बिग बंकर, और इफ इट्स अ वेंटेज पोजीशन, और इफ इट्स गॉट अ सिंगल एक्सेस, तो इट ऑल डिपेंड्स अपॉन दैट. तो 4th नाइट को हमने अटैक लॉन्च किया. To just talk about the food part, 4th entire night we fought. 5th day we fought, 5th night we fought, 6th afternoon तक लड़ाई चलता रहा. Because as I told, for us every inch of the territory is important. You are sitting here, there is a bunker here, you clear this bunker, that means you have gained this much of space.
Correct.
From here you are running from here to another boulder, that means you are again clearing that much of space. You are taking back that much of space. So inch by inch we are trying to move ahead. So 6th afternoon, I still remember my commanding officer came on the radio set and conveyed a message. Ki Naveen, 4th night you had lunch. It's already 2 days, 48 hours now. Do you want me to send something to eat? I suddenly realized, I knew for the fact that the food, if I ask for food, the food has to fetch up right from the bottom of the hillock. But our ammunition dump, we were fighting for 48 hours. 2 days we have been fighting. Then we have started expending our ammunition. So I go back to the radio set and communicate to my commanding officer, sir, आप खाने की चिंता छोड़ दो. We are falling short of ammunition because ammunition dump is somewhere in between. We have made an ammunition dump and we have stored ammunition there somewhere in between. In time of crisis, the ammunition can be easily fetched up. The food has to come right from the bottom. However, ammunition it's easier to fetch up the ammunition. So I communicate him, so ammunition bhejo, not the food. Now coming to the food part, body needs some amount of strength, at least mentally. You feel you have to have a feel that you had something. So in the month of July also we have snow-capped mountains. So what we do is the upper part of the snow, you have obviously walked on it, somebody has got shot, blood has oozed out, there's shelling out there. You directly can't put it into your mouth, right? So what we used to do, the upper part of the ice we used to clear. And the lower part which we felt relatively fresh because, the explosive, it's all blackish, it would have seeped into it. And raw ice, you can't eat, it burns your throat. But still, just to get a feel कि मतलब हमने भी कुछ खाया है, we ate that. It's really difficult, but yes, things had to be done. The circumstances were extraordinary. We did extraordinary things because circumstances demanded. The circumstances were extraordinary.
सबका भी ट्रेनिंग मिलता है क्या सर? Like situation sense, how to think objectively in terms of stress. That too, हम तो यहाँ ऑफिस में लैपटॉप के सामने बैठ के स्ट्रेस की बात करते हैं. I don't even know what to call you all, like what to call what all you have faced. Like how do you think on your feet?
Basically वहाँ पे IMA में they induce so much of chaos.
Yeah?
Yes, there's too much of chaos. You are made to handle 10 things at a time. ये बुक रिव्यू भी लिखना है, कल प्रेजेंटेशन भी करना है, वेपन फायरिंग के लिए वेपन का डायग्राम भी बनाना है, उसका हिस्से पुर्जे का डायग्राम बना के कल सुबह सबमिट करना है. There are 10 things which are running on your mind. But they'll also, if you are handling 10 things at a time, you are under chaos for certain extended period of time, and you develop a mechanism to come out of that chaos. That is what leadership is. That is what is taught to you. How to stay calm in how to take balanced decision even when the shit has hit you. There is too much of chaos. That is the time you have to be balanced and take a balanced decision, so that your men who are following you, you are taking them into the battlefield, exiting them with a balanced mind, with a correct approach, so that nobody gets harmed.
Like the famous saying goes, soldiers usually carry gun not to start the war but to end it. But honestly, we all don't know how does a soldier get ready for the war. Like, what's the kind of uniform you all wear? How much ammunition do you all carry? Is there a limit? 5 kgs, 20 kgs? आपका body weight कितना होना है?
There is nothing fixed as such, but what happens is when a unit is moving, when a team is moving.
As in?
As a team, like a company strength, a section strength. When it's a company, it's around 120 people. When a company is moving, you have a set of weapons we have to carry. Like a light machine gun has to be carried, a medium machine gun has to be carried, a heavy machine gun, a rocket launcher has to be carried. Rocket launcher, in case you want to have a bunker which has to be blasted, you have to have a rocket launcher. You have to have AGL. AGL is an automatic grenade launcher. AGL, automatic grenade launcher. You have to carry a radio set. A medium machine gun is split into two. Those are 2 people who have to carry. We are going to assemble it there. So the weight is distributed among the people. Whereas the ammunition you have to carry it yourself. If I am carrying, like an officer generally carries an AK-47. We used to carry AK-47. It's a weapon. It has got a magazine which has got around 30 rounds. So you fire 30 bullets at the end of it. So we carry spare magazines. We also carry grenades. So to put it in simple terms, a person generally carries around 25 to 30 kgs of weight. And when we talk about 5140, when we talk about 4875, as I told you, it's 5,140 meters above sea level. The pinnacle would be around somewhere around 16,000 to 17,000 feet. There is something called a rarefied atmosphere. We are sitting here in a studio where the AC is running, you're comfortably breathing. The kind of oxygen content which get into your body, the kind of oxygen content at that altitudes, it's less than 50%.
Right.
So it's whatever task you do here, if you do the same task out there, you will get 10 times tired. If you are running 100 meters here, if you run 10 meters there, the exhaustion level will be the same, because your body is not getting enough oxygen. The gradient, what we call the gradient, at places it will be around 60 degrees of gradient. You just can't climb on your toes. Your lower limbs, upper limbs be, that will also come into play for you to climb. Winds blowing at a terrific speed, sub-zero temperatures. On top of that, you have to carry 25 to 30 kgs of battlefield load. You can. I don't know whether you can imagine also or not how difficult it would have been.
Wow. So light machine gun, medium machine gun, rocket launcher, AGL, radio set, and do you all carry any nuts for immediate strength, like
Nothing.
walnuts?
It's going to add on to your weight. So the only concern is how to neutralize the enemy, how to win back that feature.
So the focus
anything and
is,
everything.
Only on.
Yeah, the concentration is on that. Okay, anything which is going to assist you in the battle, it's ticked. Which doesn't assist you, it is crossed.
So you spoke about ammunition dump. I think I saw this interview of yours in Kala Madhyama. It was a Kannada interview wherein you spoke about how ammunition dumps are usually attacked by the enemy. They keep firing the ammunition dump so that they can destroy it.
Yeah.
So what happens in an ammunition dump? What is it? How many rifles are there? What's the kind of ammunition that you can find in ammunition dump?
When you're talking about ammunition dump which was destroyed in Kargil sector, that was destroyed by enemy shelling. That was a huge ammunition dump. There is no fixed scale. We have something called war wastage reserve, and everything is drawn out of that. War wastage reserve probably will be too technical for the audience to understand. It some amount of calculation, some amount of reserves are kept depending upon the country which you are going to attack, or you are expecting the country to attack. Some war wastage reserves are kept so that they are taken only in case of war. Though you
Why is it
shouldn't.
named war wastage reserve?
It's basically that the war wastage reserve is to cater for certain number of days wherein you have expected the war to take place for that duration.
So you have blocked your.
Yeah, it shouldn't happen कि मतलब कुछ एक्शन हो गया, आपने पूरा ammunition expend कर दिया, suddenly जंग छिड़ गया, you see कि मतलब there is no ammunition. So that's always kept under reserve.
The quota is blocked.
It's always blocked, and from that the ammunition dump is drawn, and we keep it at a certain distance so that it can be easily fetched up in terms of a crisis. So you are talking about the ammunition dump. In our case, what we do is limited amount of ammunition. We hide on somebody just behind, in the midway of the hillock which you are going to attack. Somewhere midway behind a boulder, or wherein the shell cannot. It always comes in a parabolic shape. It cannot come like this. It cannot take a deviation. So behind a boulder or something, we would have stored some ammunition, covering it from the atmospheric this thing. So that's an ammunition dump I was referring to.
Okay. So in the same operation was Vikram Batra there too? Like Captain Vikram Batra was there in the same peak operation,
Yes,
right?
yes. He was part of that same attack. As I told you, we launched an attack on 4th of July. And he was part of the reserve. Like 0.514, the first attack, what had happened? Captain Vikram Batra, Captain Sanjeev Singh Jamwal was in the lead. And I was part of the reserve. Touchwood, had anything happened to them, I would have gone in their place.
Oh.
Here it was the other way. I was in the lead. Major Gurpreet Singh was also there. There were other set of officers who were tasked in a different way. Major Gurpreet Singh was there. Major Bhaskar was there. Captain Sandeep was there, and I was one of the lead of my company.
Mm-hmm. Of point 4875.
Yeah.
And in the reserve, it was Vikram Batra.
Captain Vikram Batra was in the reserve. तो 4 to 6 जुलाई तक की लड़ाई जब चल रहा था, and that is the time, fighting for 48 hours, there is certain time, what happens is, you will get fatigued. When I told we are falling short of ammunition to my commanding officer, just I narrated that, we were falling short of ammunition. I went and said, why don't you send me some ammunition? Forget about the food part. So that is the time, Captain Vikram Batra along with his team fetches up to this thing with some arms and ammunitions. They come and join us. And the moment Captain Vikram Batra came and joined, he was already, he was sort of a star. Ki pehla .5140 pe he had won, and that famous quote, Dil Mange More, that was flashed on TVs. So, he was something, he was already sort of a star amongst us. The moment we came to know that he has joined us, a new wave of enthusiasm amongst us.
What was your curiosity about him?
My curiosity about him. Before we set out for the attack, I still remember there is a formality. Okay, formality in the sense that we meet each of the officers. The officers who are going for the battlefield and the officers who are going to stay back or who is in the reserve, you go and meet each one of them. And the normal Fauj mein hota hai ki firm handshake and a tap on the back or a hug in case he's not too senior for you to give a hug.
Oh.
So I kept on, I kept on meeting people. I met my commanding officer, gave him a firm handshake. He said, Naveen, he told me that you take care of a men will take care of you. I didn't understand the consequence. What he really meant by that? I just moved away. At the last, Captain Vikram Batra was standing. And once I went him, firm handshake, and he gave me a hug, and he was just about to hug me, and he said, "Gale lagna yaar, na jaane kaun si mulaqat aakhri hogi." Rashmi, till then I was trying to motivate my men कि ऐसा मौका नहीं मिलेगा. We will be, our names will be written in golden in the history books. Our names will be written. All that I was trying to motivate, not realizing that I may also not come back from the battlefield. Once he said that, Naveen, gale lagna yaar, na jaane kaun si mulaqat aakhri hogi, and that is the time it struck me. Yes, I also may not come back from the battlefield. While I was expecting him कि ये कुछ बोलेगा, ये दिल मांगे मोर, कुछ जोश भरा words बोलेगा, probably he had an intuition, or there was some kind of connect between us. There was some kind of divine power which made him to tell that. I don't know. I don't have an answer to that. But he said these words. And then we go for the attack. 2 days later, he joins me. I'll continue with that the way I, 6th afternoon when I conveyed this message, he his team came, bought some ammunition. We started with with lot of rigor we started. Captain Vikram Batra is joined, first attack successful. Then ये भी तो हम जीत लेंगे, क्या दिक्कत है types. He was to sit here, give me covering fire. I was sitting, I used to run, I used to plonk that, occupy that area. I used to give covering fire, he used to move. ये चल रहा था. तो sixth night I was on or at some point trying to fire at the enemy, figure out how to skirt the army, fire at them, occupy that land. And fire करते करते मेरा ammunition खत्म हो गया. So ammunition जैसे ही खत्म हो गया, मेरा ammunition, there's something called a magazine which is pre-filled 30 bullets. You replace that, you fit that another magazine and fire. मेरा magazine भी खत्म हो गया. So what it was, I came down where Captain Vikram Batra was sitting and trying to give me fire. And I just loaded on my magazine, a set of 30 bullets into the weapon, and took 2 more spare, put it in my pockets, and I was about to move. Then he told me, my full name is Naveen Nagappa. Anabiru का ये लोग मुझे अन्ना अन्ना बोलते थे. मेरे यूनिट में सारा मुझे अन्ना बोलते थे. तो अन्ना तू बैठ जा. I sat with him. And imagine गोली चल रहा है, हम लोग क्या बात कर रहे हैं. धगाधग, the fire is on. Everywhere shelling is on. The firing is on. Hell broke loose तो पता ना, बहुत सारा आवाज़ आ रहा है. हम यहाँ बैठे हुए, he was telling me, ऐसे जनरली बात करने लगे. And I was on attachment on that unit, with that unit. And probably in 6 months I would have moved to a different unit, 6 months later. तो मैंने कहा सर, he was senior to me. तो मैंने कहा सर 6 महीने में मैं किसी और यूनिट में चला जाऊँगा, पता नहीं मुलाकात होगा नहीं होगा. तो ही सेड कि नवीन ऐसा क्यों करता है, तो जैक्रिफ में कन्वर्ट होता है, इसी यूनिट में परमानेंट कमीशन ले ले, सो दैट वी कंटिन्यू. और इतना ही क्या कि once I retire, he was from Palampur, Himachal Pradesh. तो he says कि इतना ही क्या, Palampur, he had a dream of opening a strawberry farm.
Oh.
So he told me, once I retire, I'll settle in Palampur, I'll open a strawberry farm, घोड़े पालूंगा, तू भी आ जाना, घोड़े चलाएंगे साथ में मिलके. एंड हम दोनों हंस रहे. एंड द एक्चुअली फायर फाइट इज ऑन. हम यहाँ पे दोनों बैठ के हंस रहे. एंड देन ठीक है सर, थोड़ी देर बात हुआ. देन आई सेड आई विल मूव हेड. मैं आगे चला गया. तो 7th early morning, the status on 7th, 4th night we launched an attack. By 7th early morning, we were in a position wherein just only one bunker was left. Had we occupied that, .4875 would have been ours. I'm sitting here, like, with my legs stretched with an AK-47 in my hand. On my right side is a big boulder. On the other side of the boulder is the enemy last post. So whenever I'm getting an opportunity, I'm climbing on that boulder, firing or skirting from that side and then trying to fire. And duck down. I'm sitting 7th early morning, they'll lob a grenade into the bunker which I'm sitting. Grenade, I'm sure the audience would know, would have seen it in movies. Pin nikal ke se fenkte na. That's a hand grenade. They lob a grenade, the grenade lands in front of my feet. So we have to understand the design of the hand grenade also. If you remove the pin, lob the grenade, immediately it takes off. What happens? The person who is lobbing it will get injured. So the idea is, you remove the pin, lob the grenade falls there. It has got a time lag of 4 seconds. So 2, 3, 4 seconds later, it takes off. So that it has an impact on the enemy. It falls there, and 2, 3 seconds later it bursts, so that enemy is hurt and not the person who is lobbing it. Now comes to the killing radius part. Hypothetically, if the grenade falls here and takes off, hypothetically, anything in and depending upon the type of grenade, depending upon the constrained space you are sitting in, various factors are there. So depending upon that, anything in and around 5 meters or so, it will be blown apart, will be shredded into pieces. Such a grenade lands in front of my feet. Now what options do I have? I can't get up and run, primarily because the enemy has lobbed a grenade. They would be waiting कि कुछ ग्रेनेड फेंका है, कुछ हरकत होगा, गोली मारेंगे. तो I cannot get up, expose myself. They'll take a shot.
Right.
And if I'm sitting here, the grenade has fallen there, the bunker entrance is there. I have to cross that and go.
Sure.
And the second part was, it's on an L-shaped bunker. I'm sitting on one side. 2 of my men are sitting on the other side.
Oh.
So how can I kick that grenade towards my own men? My conscience will not permit me.
Just for you to survive.
I cannot put my own men into harm's distance. The only thing I could do was, I knew anything I had to do, I have to do it in the next 4 seconds. I picked up that grenade, tried to lob it back.
God.
Now imagine, in all, आप फटाके फोड़ते हैं ना दीपावली पे, कितना दूर भागते हैं. पतला फटाके लाइट कर दिया, we run like, the ass is on fire, you run that far distance. But a live grenade with a killing radius of 5 to 10 meters, I had to pick it up and try to lob it back. To throw something, I'm sure you'll appreciate, you need a proper swing, right? If you want to throw a ball, if you want to throw a stone, you need a proper swing. I was sitting in a constrained space, I did not get that swing. And that too, I had to chuck it at my wrong end. This is the right end, this is the wrong end. So I picked it up, tried to lob it back, hit the boulder, rolled back, fell in front of my feet again. I'm not dramatizing anything, but I've seen death at a very close quarter. I still remember, how it hit the boulder, how it fell down, how it came to halt, the kind of sound it made, everything I remember. And I knew out of those 4 seconds, I've already lost 2 to 3 seconds, just about 1 odd second to go. For everybody, for me sitting here, 1 second ऐसे निकल जाता है. But when it's a matter of life and death, it's the time slows down. Every fraction of a second matters. Mm-hmm. It was in those couple of seconds, it was like everything started flashing in front of my eyes. My parents' face, my brother, my sisters, it was like flashing in front of my eyes. In those circumstances also, I'm thinking the grenade is going to take off any time. Captain Naveen Nagappa will not be there after that. The moment my parents get to know about this, they'll be heartbroken, they'll be devastated. But at the same time, if I sit like this, the grenade takes off. My entire upper part of the body will be blown off. What will they send home Naveen as? There will be nothing left. Some muscle pieces, some bone pieces scattered here and there. If they pick it up and put it in a gunny bag and send home, will my parents ever excuse me? Should I not give them the opportunity to see my face for the last time? That was the only prayer on my lips.
Oh God.
God, I will not survive. Let my face be intact so that my parents get to see me for the last time. With this, it's all this is happening in fraction of a second. There was, as I told you, there was a boulder, the bunker edge. There was a small gap between that. So, my immediate impulse was to, jump. So I jumped on to the right side, and my body got squeezed in between that, the upper part of the body got squeezed in between the boulder and the bunker. Legs got exposed. And the grenade takes off. And when the grenade takes off, it's, what happens is, if you harm yourself, if you touch something which is warm, immediately the pain reaches the brain and you sense ki matlab mera haath jal raha hai, you take your hand. But when it's a grenade blast, I was not even aware whether I am dead, whether I am alive. I was in a state of hallucination. I was not even aware what's happening with me. For the first 15 seconds, I had lost count of time. But since people tell me it was around 15 seconds since a person came to rescue me, I presume that it would have been 15 seconds. 15 seconds later, all I could make out was, the enemy the Pakis had started moving towards my post. They had launched a counter attack. They were trying to occupy the bunker which I was sitting, because it was at a slightly vantage position. So they were trying to counter attack. 15 seconds later, the first thing I make out was they were trying to attack. The ringing sound in my ears. There was dust all over. The bunker which I was sitting in had collapsed. Both my legs were injured.
And you could feel the crazy pain.
A certain time later, 15 seconds में पहली बार तो मुझे पता नहीं चला कि मतलब मुझे क्या हुआ है, कितना दर्द हो रहा है. I was not aware. मतलब पेन का महसूस ही नहीं हो रहा था. So 15 seconds later, what happened is, I see a person running towards my post, firing towards the enemy. Fire करते करते bunker के सामने आके खड़ा हो गया. And the first word he said, the first word I could make out was, he said, Naveen, tu Anna tu डरना नहीं, मैं आ गया हूँ. I opened my eyes and saw Captain Vikram Batra was standing there. And the moment I saw him telling these words, I realized कि I am alive. मैंने अपने आप को बोला, नवीन तो अभी तक नहीं मरा तो आगे भी नहीं मरेगा. तो मेरा जो वेपन था वो लेफ्ट साइड में पड़ा हुआ था. I picked up my weapon, started firing towards the enemy. By then my men had also realized कि मतलब नवीन साहब को चोट लगी है, ग्रेनेड फट गया है. They also started firing. So somehow we managed to stall the counter attack. And then, Captain Vikram Batra, both my legs were injured. I couldn't have got up. He held my hand and drags me out of the bunker. Drags me for good about 10-15 meters. And he tells me कि नीचे जाके treatment ले ले. I'll lead the battle from here. And I was hesitant. If you've seen this movie called Sher Shah?
Yes.
In that movie, this scene has been captured. He's telling me to go down and get myself treated. I'm telling him, sir, मुझे नीचे मत भेजो, मुझे लड़ना है, sir, मुझे लड़ना है. I don't know, sitting here in the studio, I can't even, recollect why I said these words. I was of no use there. Both my legs injured, what contribution could I have given? But still the fact that I had promised my men that till the tricolor is hoisted on point 4875, I'll not come back from the battlefield. That is the reason I didn't want to come back.
Wow.
But Captain Vikram Batra, being my senior, he was my senior, so I had to obey his orders. Or, he said कि तू नीचे जाके treatment ले ले, otherwise you'll bleed to death here. I may have to call off the attack in case you don't go. We don't want to lose an officer. So, our fists met. He gave a tap on my back and he started running up. I started crawling down. Rashmi, I had never imagined, that will be the last time I'll be seeing him. Had वो महाभारत में ना कृष्ण भगवान समय को रोक देते, अगर मुझे शायद मौका मिलता, that is the time I would have liked to stop. Never ever had I imagined that I'm going to see him for the last time. I start crawling down. Good about 150 meters I crawl. 150 meters crawl करते पूरा चिल गया था. Because nobody could have come and rescued. Yes. Firing was on. Intense firing was on.
Damn.
तो करते करते नीचे, when I came behind a boulder, sat there, wanted to see the state of my leg. When I turned back and saw wherever I had dragged my feet, I could see blood stains all over. Sat behind a boulder, this leg, this entire portion was blown off. There's hardly anything left in that. It was literally dangling like this. Somebody had put some pressure and pulled it, it would have come apart. One of my Jawan came put me on his shoulders like a gunny bag, and he's running from one boulder to another boulder. falling down, getting up because the firing was on. I could see the Pakistanis firing. I could see the bullets piercing the ice. He picked me up, running from boulder, falling down, running again to some distance. You don't realize what's possible, what's not possible. See, my state of mind was, मैं पीछे देख रहा था, मेरा पैर नीचे कट के तो नहीं गिर गया. आई वॉज अंडर द इम्प्रेशन कि अगर ऐसा होता तो मैं इसको लेके जाऊंगा, डॉक्टर को बताऊंगा नीचे जाके, भाई इसको स्टिच कर दे. No, you don't realize what's possible, not possible. Then at some distance he brings me, and then once we are out of the small arms firing range, I was put on a stretcher, and then I was evacuated from there. Imagine, I got hurt early in the morning. My injury was early in the morning. By the time they brought me down, because it's a very steep climb, you can't, on your own it's difficult to ascend and descend. In case you have to carry somebody on your shoulders on a stretcher, I don't remember how many times they dropped me down. So it slows down the move. I got hurt early in the morning. By the time they brought me down, it was already dark. It was late in the night.
Oh.
So much of blood, so much of infection which has spread. The doctors, when I came down, the doctor saw me and said, Naveen, it's a miracle you have survived. It's a miracle that you have survived. They put me on a sedative, and they told me that the next possible opportunity you'll be sent to Srinagar. And the next possible opportunity was next day early in the morning. Early in the morning, I was woken up, not realizing what's happening in the battlefield. I was put on a helicopter. The helicopter takes off. We start moving towards Srinagar. The pilot was given an order that he will not fly very high. In case he flies very high, there's chances of he getting shot and the helicopter getting shot.
Yes.
So the idea was to fly low. We started moving towards Srinagar, and my nursing assistant at some point of time woke me up, and quote unquote he said, सब डॉक्टर ने उठने से मना किया हुआ है, बट वो देखिए 0.4875 पे तिरंगा लहरा रहा है. That was one moment in my life I felt कि Naveen, whether you live, whether you die, that is not of consequence. The fact of the matter is the mission has been accomplished. The task has been completed. We have won 4875, and I could see the tricolor.
Wow.
I sat there, saluted the national flag, and was about to lie down. The nursing assistant again said, quote unquote, he said, साहब इसके लिए हमने कीमत चुकाई है. मैंने कहा उस्ताद, we call them उस्ताद हमने क्या कीमत चुकाई है? He said, साहब कैप्टन विक्रम बत्रा नहीं रहे. The moment I heard this, I was too much of blood loss. As it is, I was weak, not eaten for 3 to 4 days. Blood loss, I was in a semi-unconscious state. And the moment I heard this, I went unconscious. And next I woke up was in Srinagar. So that is my battlefield experience.
Sir, I don't know how to react, but you guys are just awesome. And, please take a big salute from all of us, who've not been there with you all, but we are sitting, peacefully in our own cities because of all the sacrifices that you all have given. Truly inspiring, and these are the stories which we really have to, remind ourselves and look at life, I guess.
Thank you.
Now, how has your outlook towards life changed? I mean, of course, just 6 months in army, right into the operation. Now there is this success in terms of mission accomplished, but we've lost dear and near ones. You have lost the opportunity to serve the army further. What was going in your head, sir? What was going on in your head? Like
during the hospitalization or subsequently once I came out from the army, you meant to say?
During the first step is, of course, while you were in the hospital. I think you were there for 21 months.
Absolutely.
That's a long time. How did you sail through that phase?
You see, it was very difficult. Fighting a battle was one part of it. The injury was one part of it. The recovery part was horrible. As I told you, there are a lot of infection which has gone into my legs. So every time they nurse the wound, every time they clean it, the next day open that, it's a smell, it's pus all over. They take me up and try to put me on a stretcher. My body used to come up, my leg used to fall down like this because it's not stabilized by then. Before the wound is stabilized, it cannot be put on a cast. So it was open wound, and putting on a stretcher and getting back to the operation theatre or getting back to the bed was a nightmare for me. The fact of the matter was there was smell, the pus ka smell aa raha tha, pain ho raha tha, and it was so painful. there was many a times when I started cursing myself. When I started cursing God as well. I started telling him, God, why me?
Matlab, why am I alive?
Why am I alive? I was better dead than having made to go through this. The pain would be, at certain point of time, it becomes unbearable. You desire death more than rather than undergo this pain. I reached that point when I didn't really want to live and undergo this pain. I was cursing God कि I was better dead. So what happens in the first 6 months? Everything you're doing in the bed, you can't get up. You can't move your legs. There's bed sore which has started happening. All these things put I was under the impression कि I'm very mentally strong. I'll not get into depression वगैरह. मेरे डिक्शनरी में मैंने सोचा था कि डिक्शनरी में नहीं है, मैं कभी डिप्रेस नहीं होऊंगा. What's this nonsense कि डिप्रेशन भी कोई चीज़ होता है. But 6 months in a hospital can do a lot of damage to you, and it did. It started hurting me so badly that I wished I was trying to invite death. Then one incident happens which changes the way I look. I had a very close friend of mine in the Indian IMA. We had trained together. He was very close to me. So was his mother. अगर उसको if auntie used to call my friend, आधा घंटा उसके साथ बात करती तो मेरे से भी 10-15 मिनट तो मेरे से ही बात होता था. If you send a box of sweets, उसके लिए भी एक बॉक्स आता था, मेरे लिए भी एक बॉक्स. We were so close. No, but unfortunately in the battlefield, Kargil War, it was predominantly young officers who made the supreme sacrifice. The Jawans, the JCOs were always there. But if we're talking about the officer cadre, it was the young officers who made most of them, who didn't return from the battlefield. He was one of them, my friend. I would not like to take the names because not taken auntie's permission, so would not like to name them.
We respect the privacy.
So what happens is when I was cursing myself in the hospital, I was given to understand that auntie is coming to meet me. तो पूरी रात मैं सोचता रहा, if auntie comes tomorrow morning and asks me, नवीन तू तो वापस आ गया, सो एंड सो मेरे बेटे को वहाँ पे क्यों छोड़ दिया, मेरे बेटे को क्यों छोड़ के आया उधर. So what am I going to say, or how am I going to face that? What will I say in case she asks this question? The entire night I couldn't sleep. Next day morning, auntie comes. She was with me for almost 1.5-2 hours. We sat, we talk about all the things except her son. She didn't make a word. She didn't make not even a mention about her son. 1.5 hours passed and she was about to leave. She had almost gone to the door. And I don't know whether it's survivor's guilt or what was it. I'm not too sure. But I called her auntie. She turned back and I said, auntie, please pardon me. I was in a different sector. Your son was fighting in a different sector. There was no way. We were hundreds of miles away. There was no way I could have gone to his rescue. I could have helped him. There was no way. And she turns and tells me, Naveen, the best gift a son can give to his mother or motherland is his body coming back wrapped in tricolor. That's the best gift a son can give to his mother or motherland. And she walks away.
Wow.
For the next 30-40 minutes, without me consciously crying, tears were rolling down my eyes. I was thinking ki I'm yes, there is injury. I'm not able to get up. I'm not able to walk. But I can eat. I can watch TV. I can speak to my parents. I can write. I can read. But in spite of all this, I'm inviting death. I don't want to survive. Here is a lady who has lost a son and she says that's the best gift she has ever received. Do I have the that luxury to invite death? Should I desire death? Then I decided that was probably the last time I ever felt low, and there was a sea change that entirely changed the way I look at my life. So 21 months subsequently, 8 major surgeries, 21 months. And the army authorities decided that surgically they cannot improve my legs. And I was medically discharged with crutches with shoes up to my knees. And then I was medically discharged from the army services. So that has been my short and effective service in the defense forces.
Contributing service to the nation, being a Kargil War veteran. Now I'm sure you've seen enough life to look back and reflect upon uncertainties of life. How are you managing the journey of life till date, sir?
See, war does teaches you a lot of lessons.
Like if I have to ask you 5 lessons, if you can give a listicle which we all can also handle or use in our lives.
See, I don't have set of 5 lessons which I learned, but in a nutshell, what I have learned is war is a brutal teacher. It's a brutal teacher. It teaches you lessons of humanity in its worst form as well as in its most glorious form. When I say glorious form, you're trying your level best to save a person's life who is your soldier. At the same time, you're picking up a gun and trying to shoot someone, and you're trying to shoot to kill. If you consider it in terms of humanity, it's in the most glorious moments you're putting your life at risk to save someone. That was the most glorious moments. When I say humanity at its worst, you will not even let a person who's half dead. If a person is, you have shot him, you immobilized him, you are not satisfied with the outcome.
Hmm.
You want to see to that he breathes his last. You want to take a headshot. You want to put a bullet into his, a place where he'll breathe his last. So it teaches you the frugality of a human life, and at the same the preciousness of a human life. If both put together, it I sometimes wonder, मतलब हम लोग सोचते हैं ना कि छोटी छोटी चीज़ें हमें इतना मैटर कर देता है कि मैं पोस्ट करता हूँ, कोई लाइक नहीं करता, कोई इफ आई आस्क अ नोट टू समवन, स्टूडेंट्स खास करके नोट्स मांगते हैं, नोट्स नहीं देते, कोई इफ आई कॉफ़ी के लिए मांगता हूँ, कॉफ़ी के लिए दे डोंट कम आउट. दीज आर स्मॉल लिटिल थिंग्स which are no irrelevant.
So true.
When I was passing through that, when I was injured and they are trying to get me down, I was पता नहीं मुझे it was like a tunnel vision. It was, you concentrated on certain things which are very clear to you, and other things drop out.
Hmm.
It's a tunnel vision.
What matters is only
Yes,
was
at
seen at
that
time.
time I was feeling कि मतलब my ego, my honor, my respect, my money, they just don't matter.
In the end.
They just don't matter in the end. But we as normal human beings have put so much of importance to that.
We always nurture that only.
Yes,
To realize that in the end all of this is
it's going to come
go
down, it's going to crash,
dust.
it's not going to be there with you. So the army, a lot of people ask me कि मतलब, do you miss army, do you miss war? It's a very strange question, but it has got a stranger answer.
That is?
We do miss. यहाँ पे हम लोग, अगर मैं बाहर सड़क पे जाऊंगा कि मतलब your worst enemy or worst criticizer is someone who you know.
Hmm.
यहाँ पे इतना सारा बैक बैटिंग होता है, यहाँ पे इतना सारा फिल्थ है. आप आर्मी में चले जाओ, देयर वर पीपल हु आर रेडी टू सैक्रिफाइस माई लाइफ, सैक्रिफाइस देयर लाइफ फॉर मी, knowing that if it comes to it, I will do the same thing for them.
Wow. What a
Isn't
contrast.
it a place you would like to go to, where people are ready to sacrifice your life,
Absolutely.
sacrifice their lives for you?
That's the cream of humans, looks like.
Yes, I would definitely would like to be with those people. I would like to rather be with that kind of family where I know if something goes wrong, there is always people who come looking for me. They'll always tell me, Naveen, you'll make it. When I was injured, when I was sort of passing out, when I was starting, I was trying to I was feeling like I'm collapsing, I'm losing blood, I may not open my eyes henceforth. There were people who were trying to tell me, Naveen, you'll make it. I would definitely like to go back to that team. No, I'm not that I'm missing the war, but yes, I'm missing the circumstances. My friends are there who are trying to tell me we are going to make it.
Wow. Now this question is coming representing audience's curiosity about Captain Vikram Batra. Obviously, the movie has come. Lot has been told. Is there any side that even the movies have failed to show? Anything that the audience should know from our dear friend who has served the army with him and who has lived to tell us the story today?
Oh yeah. Rather, there are a lot of things I would like to talk about him.
Yes, sir.
Starting from, may not be exactly him or per se, my interactions with Captain. We call him Vicky sir. What had happened was I got hurt on 7 July 99.
Mm.
He made the supreme sacrifice on the same day, 7 July 99. 20 years later, on 7 July 2019, our entire team of officers who were in the battlefield, along with Captain Vikram Batra, has a twin brother,
Right.
Vishal Batra.
Right.
He's his look-alike. So entire team who had fought on 4875, entire team was taken on a helicopter and dropped on 4875. For the benefit of the audience, I would like to tell, point 4875 is no more called point 4875. It's called Batra Top in honor of Captain Vikram Batra.
Wow.
When we were on top of Batra Top, the mood was very good. We were standing there, at 17,000 feet, when they had hoisted a big, huge tricolor there at 17,000 feet. When I saw the tricolor fluttering high, and I know I was a contributing factor to it, when I saluted the national flag, I felt I lived my life. There was nothing to look forward to. I didn't want anything after that. Vishal Batra was also there. The mood was, we were very happy. 20 years later, we fought the battle and won the feature for our country. And at that moment, what happens is Vishal goes to the same place where Captain Vikram Batra had made a supreme sacrifice, and he lights an incense stick there. He didn't have to utter a word. He just lit the incense sticks. And suddenly everybody stood still. There was no murmur, there was no chat, there was no fisting, there was no pumping in the air. Everybody was somber. Then I realized that, I always used to wonder, how can pain and pride are oxymoron, right? They don't go together. They're oxymoron. I felt, how can pain and pride go together? When I sat there, when I saw this happening, I realized, yes, pain and pride can go together. When we were, when I was return back, journey back, when I was put on a helicopter and I was taken back, I saw that feature. I saw the place where I got injured. Captain Vikram Batra had made a supreme sacrifice. That is etched in my memory so so intensely that I can never forget that moment.
Yes.
Once I came back home, I don't know, few of your audience would have seen my photograph. Most of the times I give my interviews there. In my dining hall, I put Captain Vikram Batra's photograph right in the middle. It's a huge photograph. I tell my daughter, he is the one who saved my life. Had Captain Vikram Batra not come and rescued me, the counterattack was on. Anything could have happened to me. The Pakistanis would have come. I don't know what fate I would have met. Definitely killed, but before tortured, inhumanly, treated, and then shot to death. Anything could have happened. It is courtesy Captain Vikram Batra I am alive today. I make it a point to tell my daughter, had he not been there, I would have not been there. Had I not been there, you wouldn't have been there.
Absolutely. Are you in touch with his family?
Yes, of course. To add to it, both uncle and auntie had come to my place. Once they came, that was some years back. And she came and saw the Captain Vicky sir's photograph there, right in the middle of my dining hall. She was emotional. And उसने कहा कि नवीन, मेरे बेटे को इतने लोग चाहते हैं, you putting up a photograph in the dining hall is something really, really special for me.
It's a reminder, you're alive because of him, and it's your way of paying gratitude.
Absolutely. And the word she said was, हमने विक्रम को खोया है लेकिन नवीन को पाया है.
Aha. Wow.
Uncle was he was literally crying. Auntie was under tears. I was crying. And unfortunately, we lost auntie, Mrs. Kamal Batra. We lost her 2 years back. So these are the memories, trying to keep his memories alive. Wherever I go, wherever I talk, wherever I given an opportunity to discuss about the Kargil War, I make it a point to convey that, such people existed. We shouldn't feel bad that such people they gave up their life. Rather, we should be grateful that such people lived. And it is my bounden duty to take the stories of men like Captain Vicky sir in front of the public.
Absolutely, sir. Peace is the gift, but the soldier is the giver. And in this case, truly, amongst 527 soldiers, there is one celebrated name and some memories that we have just reflected upon. Sir, while in the conversation, you touched upon many chapters which, as audience, we are all curious. One is enemy soldiers captivated and the kind of tortures that they go through. I mean, would you like to throw some light on,
Certainly, I'm very glad that you brought out this question. You see, once the intrusion has happened, the enemies had come into our territory, occupied our territories. We didn't have too much of intelligence then. What is the extent of occupation? What's the extent of how many people have come? What are the arms and ammunition they're carrying? So what we had done was we had sent a team of 5 soldiers, 6 soldiers, including Captain Saurabh Kalia. Saurabh Kalia, who was the one who led the first reconnaissance team. When I say reconnaissance, the idea was to just gather intelligence and not to fight the battle. So a small team of 6 members, they climb on a feature called Bajrang Post. And the idea how we collect reconnaissance, how we gather intelligence is we keep moving without the enemy noticing us, and we stay there for some time. As I told you, to make the plan, we carry out a reconnaissance. We sit there, note down and come back. Similar thing Captain Saurabh Kali had done. But unfortunately, you can well imagine around 80 people sitting on top of that feature. Sitting on top, they are easily able to visualize what's happening below. They are able to see what's happening below. They could see these men coming up. But these men people are climbing. They couldn't see enemy sitting behind the boulders, inside the bunkers, inside the sangars. They couldn't see. So they are led into a trap. They go into a trap. The enemy lets them come inside to an extent where their small arms fire reaches. Till then they keep quiet. They are let inside a Chakravyuh, and once they have entered that area where the small arms reaches them, they start firing from all the 3 sides. These 6 people were taken prisoner of war. Now let me put it on record. We are a signatory to Geneva Convention of Treatment of Prisoner of War. So is Pakistan. But what happens Rashmi, I'll tell you, for the next 21 days, once these were taken captive, they were taken prisoner of war. 21 days when the bodies of these 6 soldiers was handed over back to the Indian Army. The world was shocked. Red Cross was called to carry out the postmortem report. Seeing the condition, they said they refused to carry the postmortem.
Why?
The Indian Army doctors had to carry out because the bodies were so badly mutilated.
As in? What is mutilated?
I'll tell you, when our doctors carried out the postmortem, the report, they mentioned in the report that they were hit so badly with the it's called, the bottom of the gun is called the butt. With the butts they had hit on their head, the skulls were fractured. Their eyes were gouged out. Their teeth were broken. Their tongues were cut. Hot iron rods were pierced into their ears.
Damn.
There were cigarette burn marks all over the bodies, and even the genitals were not spared.
But
can you imagine 21 days?
They've gone through this torture.
Yes. I'll tell you, to add to this fact, a soldier doesn't mind sacrificing his life. But a soldier wants to die with dignity. A soldier, I don't mind giving up my life. But there is some dignity in death. I don't want to cry, being humiliated, being tortured, screaming, crying and then dying. No.
And also dying in the hands of the enemy.
That's the worst thing which can happen. And on top of that, it was a personal loss from any loss for that matter. It hurts. But Captain Saurabh Kalia was a very close friend of mine. And losing a friend of yours, and that too under such inhuman conditions, really hurts, really pains. And today we may be discussing here, you and feel bad when we discuss about that. Imagine the fate of a father. Saurabh Kalia's father, who is again, incidentally, they are also from Palampur. I have been to their house. Vikram Batra is also from Palampur, and Saurabh Kalia is also from Palampur. So when I went and met his father at Palampur, uncle is fighting a case with the International Court of Justice. All he wants is Pakistan to tender an unconditional apology. What they did to the son was inhuman. He just wants that Pakistan should apologize.
It's still not
happened. Somewhere we have failed down the lane to give justice to a soldier. You, me, the citizens, the government, successive governments. Haven't we failed in our duties? A father at this ripe age, he's still fighting.
Obviously, for him, the sun is the world.
Yeah. And
Sun.
losing a son itself hurts. And when you know that he was tortured so badly, it hurts more.
So, what's with the Geneva Treaty now?
No, it's Pakistan is a rogue nation. They say that Pakistan is not a nation, it's a weapon. And it's a dirty weapon. They carry it as confessed by their own defense minister. He says we have been doing the Westerners' dirty job for the last 30 years.
So, they've been planted, they've been read by these secret nations.
Who? The Pakistan. You see, if we are talking about now going back to the history books, when Russia invaded Afghanistan. Before that, if you see, when America invaded Vietnam was able to give a bloody nose to Americans just because of Russia's support.
Hmm.
So now what happened was, subsequently years later, when Russia invaded Afghanistan, the Americans thought this was the right time to pay back in blood to the Russians. So what they did was, they started encouraging Pakistan to nurture terrorism. All the facilities were given by USA to Pakistan. So it has become a industrial hub for terrorism. Pakistan, if it produces anything worthwhile, they don't produce anything worthwhile, but the only thing they produce is terrorist. So that is how the nation has been. That's why it's called a rogue nation. No country wants to be identified with Pakistan today. China is there because of its own personal reasons. And this guy, Erdogan, Turkey, that guy is there. Again for Azerbaijan and Turkey, just because of some Islamic angle to it, they are trying to support Pakistan. Otherwise, no country today wants to be identified with Pakistan today. What have they done to themselves? They could have done. We were from the same land of mass. They became Pakistan, we became India. Look where we are and look where they are. Still, I don't think they have learned their lessons well, even today.
With what hope should citizens look at this scenario? Because I'm sure even during Operation Sindoor, whatever was fed to us was one entry point to assess the situation. Secondly, a lot happens below the carpet, which is not at all told to the world, right?
See, in this case, it was a clear-cut, decisive action by the Indian Army. Indian Army, for that matter, Indian Defence Forces, because Air Force played a predominant role in this one. Hitting 9 terror camps, and 4 of them within Pakistan and not Pakistan occupied Kashmir. There's a difference. 5 training camps in Pakistan occupied Kashmir, 4 training camps inside Pakistan. It was a huge message that India is not going to tolerate such nonsense.
Right.
You 4 people come, you butcher 26 of our men, kill them in cold blood. When they're unarmed civilians you kill, then you have to pay for it. And the Indian government, the Indian Defence Forces made them pay for it. 9 terror training camps were attacked simultaneously. And it's not a small thing. 9 terror training camps being, destroyed within a span of 30 odd minutes, and 26 missiles being fired, and, bringing terror camps, it's not a small thing. To top it all, 11 air bases, 2 days later, 11 air bases. In the history of, warfare, this has never happened. In one day, 11 air bases were destroyed, and without losing a single aircraft. The Indian Defence Forces had done a tremendous job.
Especially with S-400 coming in. The whole world is talking about it.
Indeed.
So, I mean, anything that you would like to help us understand S-400 better, and what is it?
See, S-400, yes, we will talk about S-400, but at the same time, we'll talk about something else as well. S-400 is an air defense system. How does an air defense system work? It has got a radar. Like, a very normal example. We both are going somewhere. You are starting from place A, I am starting off place B. We share our live location. So you know my location, I'll know your location. We converge at a particular point.
Okay.
Clear? Same thing happens with the S-400 as well. The enemy fires a missile, the S-400 picks it up, it tracks it live, and see the projectile, see the speed at which it's moving, the trajectory which is following, and it will calculate ki matlab what time where it's going to land, and it assesses the threat. Once it assesses it's a threat, so what it does is it's got a S-400 has got a range of around 400 kilometers.
400 to 600.
400 to 600 kilometers. 400 generally they say ki matlab it's effective.
Yes, sir.
So it fires a counter missile. On its own, the instructions are given to a command center wherein it activates a counter missile, and the missile goes and targets it, and it neutralizes it in the air.
What is actually neutralizing?
Neutralizing?
Yeah, a lot of footages that we saw, some video games footages are getting uploaded, and a lot of fake videos out there. So what is neutralizing?
Neutralizing is, it's like, the enemy has fired a missile, we have fired a counter missile. In case it misses, it's going to, this missile, the enemy missile is going to land in some, habitated area, going to destroy buildings, causing loss of lives. So the best way is to neutralize it or to make it explode in midair. That's basically, neutralizing it.
And the debris will fall down.
Debris will, of course, fall. But it's in case of a missile, what happens is it is carrying a certain payload, and the missile also has got its own dead weight. Imagine the entire missile, 400 kg payload, but the missile would have been 600 kgs. So 1000 kgs falling on some building.
Oh, damn.
And that too at such velocity.
Versus
a debris falling. So we always prefer that debris falling rather than. So that's how we neutralize it. Now, once you are talking about S-400 again, it was a game changer. We bought it from Russia, a fantastic equipment. The call of the day, it did a fantastic job. But at the same time, there are a lot of Indian air defense systems which we had indigenized, like the Akash Tir, what we had developed, Akash missile system, what we had developed. That has also played. It is not just one layer of air defense. There are subsequent layers. If it passes through the first tier of security, first tier of air defense, the second one takes on. If it passes the second, the third one takes on.
Oh, wow.
If it passes the third, the fourth one takes on. So there are S-400 was the first tier. So we have subsequent tiers as well, which are most of them are indigenous developed. So hats off to DRDO, hats off to our defense, public sector units, Bell especially. Bell and DRDO have done a fabulous job in developing indigenized systems, which generally people, हम लोग बोलते हैं ना कि मतलब भारत देश तो ऐसा ही है, हम कुछ नहीं करते, इनोवेट नहीं करते, खरीद लेते, the defense public sector units have today proved that they can. They are doing a fabulous job.
Yeah, BrahMos, wo kya hai, sir?
BrahMos is it's what's hypersonic missile. It's when I saw hypersonic missile in the sense, any sonic is it travels at the speed of light. Supersonic is it travels above the speed of the light. And hypersonic is something which travels at the speed of around Mach 5 to Mach 7. It can carry multiple warheads. Multiple warheads. It can be, just to educate not that we are going to use that, just to educate everybody, it can carry a nuclear warhead as well. And the beauty of it is, it can be fired from air, it can be fired from ground, it can be fired from sea, it can be fired from a submarine as well.
Oh, wow.
So the kind of speed with it is moving, it's being launched, speed of over 5 Mach, 4 Mach, that makes it difficult for the enemy radars to catch that, to sense that, to neutralize that. That is the advantage.
The speed.
The speed.
Crazy.
And if you see about the cruise, it's a cruise missile, so it can travel at an altitude of 10 meters also, up to 15 kilometers. So 10 meters, matlab you're passing through the vegetation. So matlab the radars, it becomes that much difficult for a radar to track that, to trace that and neutralize that.
In a couple of your interviews, I think you did throw some light about how a grenade functions, and I was blown away looking at the way you explained. Could you please explain it to our audience, because I want to hear it from the horse's mouth, about the grenade, and there is a lever once you pull the pin out.
Okay. Okay, what happens is a grenade. I'm sure people would have seen it. Hand grenade. Basically, the hand. It's called as hand grenade because you hold it in the hand. It's got a lever out here. You are holding that. Generally, what they show in the movies is, you remove the pin like this. You generally don't do that. You remove the pin through the hand. You remove the pin. You are but still holding on to the lever. That means until you release this lever, it's not going to get activated. So once you lob, that means you have let go the lever. Once you lob, that means you have lost control over that lever. You opened it up. So lever moves out because of spring action. And once the lever moves out like this, तो यहाँ पे एक स्ट्राइकर पिन होता है. द स्ट्राइकर पिन pierces inside. It activates a fuse. That fuse has got a time lag of 4 seconds. After 4 seconds, it hits the explosive inside.
That is barut.
And you imagine a hand grenade, you're holding it in hand, it's this thick metal. The amount of pressure which gets developed inside it makes that, the metal part to rupture.
वही पिन बन के घुसता है बॉडी के अंदर.
That is also, because it's red hot. Anything, it's like your body becomes like a butter. Because of it's red hot, it can easily pierce into your body.
Great.
So those splinters are what is going to cause harm to the body.
एक ग्रेनेड में लगभग how many splinters can come out, sir, with exposure?
Nothing fixed like that, it ruptures. It can be a small piece, it can be a big piece.
At least 50 to 100.
आराम से होता होगा 50 तो.
No? वो how does a pressure build वो fuse and बारूद के बाद क्या होता है?
Once it gets ignited, वो जैसे पटाखे हम लोग जलाते हैं ना,
same thing.
हाँ, उसके ऊपर कवर रहता है. Pressure gets built up and the pressure becomes more than what its holding capacity is. And the more the holding capacity of the pressure, once it lets go, that much impact will be there. पटाखे में क्या होता है, corrugated box का डब्बा रहता है, it can withstand very less pressure, तो जल्दी फट जाता है, effect कम रहता है. यहाँ पे it's a hard casing, metal casing, उसको rupture करने के लिए, उसको तोड़ने के लिए you need lot of pressure. That pressure gets developed, ultimately it ruptures, and that rupture का effect is what you see.
And you also spoke about a machine gun. उसके बारे में सुन के I kind of just lost my shit. Like it's universal.
UMG. It's called as universal machine gun. Is what we had captured from the Pakis in Point 4 on Batra top pe. I still have that photograph on my wall. We had captured a UMG, universal machine gun. They had 120 mm mortar. Once we talk about weapons, it's a personal weapon. Like you shoot, a bullet is fired, somebody gets shot. Once we talk about a mortar, it's an area weapon. You lob a area weapon in the sense it causes damage to the area rather than to an individual.
As in,
it's like a bomb.
Example?
Mortar.
Yeah.
Like a what do you call? Artillery gun, Bofors gun. You fire, a gola jata hai, a projectile goes there, an explosive goes there, and it hits the ground, impacts, and a large amount of area is affected.
Acha, it's not for a personal individual के लिए वो नहीं है.
That's a personal weapon. This is an area weapon. It affects the area rather than a personal. So anybody in and around there,
So I think in that only you
imagine 120 people, the Pakis who were sitting on top, behind boulders, inside the bunkers. They had these universal machine guns. They had 120 mm mortars.
And they were using it to gun down our Indian army. In spite of that, we chased those buggers. We neutralized the bunkers. We chased them away from them. We captured, neutralized few of them, and we managed to capture. I'll tell you, Rashmi, mountain warfare. If we are talking about mountain warfare, the enemy sitting on top has a huge advantage, and that's why we call the ratio, casualty ratio. The casualty ratio is 1:10, roughly. Casualty ratio 1:10. Can you beat it? If they lose one of them, there are every chance that we are going to lose 10. Damn.
But still, do you know what is the ratio? Of course, they have never disclosed the amount of men they lost. They refused to take their bodies of their own soldiers.
During Kargil.
Yeah. I'll tell you an incident after I complete this. The casualty ratio is 1:10, right? So we declared it officially that we have lost 527 soldiers. They should have lost 50 odd by that ratio. 1:10 ke ratio mein, they should have lost 50 odd people. Our calculation is, although it's not collaborated, they didn't accept it, 800 plus is their casualty. So that in the history of mountain warfare, it has never happened this way. That is the kind of bravery the Indian army had shown during the Kargil battle. Now coming back to this point of जो refused body बोल रहे थे ना, I am not exaggerating, I am not dramatizing. आप आज भी इधर बोल बैठ के you open YouTube, search .4875 Kargil War, you know what you will see? द फीचर आई गॉट हर्ट 4875 बत्रा टॉप जिसको हम बोलते हैं आज के, जहां मैंने लड़ाई लड़ा था, जहां मुझे चोट लग गया था, यू विल सी द एनिमी बॉडीज, द सोल्जर्स बॉडीज विच आर लाइंग देयर, पाकिस्तान इज रिफ्यूज टू टेक इट बैक बिकॉज ऑब्वियसली उनका हेड काउंट ज़्यादा हो रहा था, जवाब देना मुश्किल हो रहा था. दे सेड कि अपने बंदे है ही नहीं, दे आर टेररिस्ट, दे आर नॉट आवर रेगुलर आर्मी बोल के उनको छोड़ दिया. यू नो व्हाट वी डिड? We also could have done the same thing what they did to Captain Saurabh Kalia. We could have chopped off their heads, we could have thrown it down the gorge, we could have mutilated, we could have cut, chopped, we could have done anything. But what we did was, we bought Pakistani national flag, we put them, we gave them burial as per their customs and traditions.
Wow.
You know, this was the messaging, the as I told you, we could have done anything with those bodies. We didn't do that. Their own soldiers they refused to take. But we buried. A soldier is an enemy till the time he is alive. After he is dead, he has to be given that due respect. And we did that. We win. I'm telling again, reiterating this point. Indian Army just we do not win just because we have got better technology, we have superior in numbers. We win because we are morally and ethically correct.
सर ये कारगिल वॉर के इसमें आई वेंट एंड काइंड ऑफ गूगल्ड द मोस्ट आस्क्ड क्वेश्चन बाय ऑडियंस. इसमें देयर इज़ वन क्वेश्चन दैट हॉन्ट्स टिल टुडे. वाज कारगिल वॉर इंटेलिजेंस फेलियर और अ पॉलिटिकल ब्लाइंड स्पॉट? समबडी हूज बीन पार्ट ऑफ इट, मतलब हाउ वुड यू लुक एट इट?
See, I'll not beat around the bush. Neither I'll try to blame कि ये रॉ का काम ये होता है, रिसर्च एंड एनालिस्ट विंग का, एक इंटेलिजेंस ब्यूरो होता है, उसका काम ये होता है, आर्मी काम रिस्ट्रिक्टेड होता है, पुलिस का काम इतना है, या पॉलिटिशियंस ने ऐसा नहीं किया होता तो इट वुड हैव बीन बेटर. इट वॉज एन इंटेलिजेंस फेलियर. लेट्स नॉट डिनाई दैट फैक्ट. इट वॉज एन इंटेलिजेंस फेलियर. वी डिडंट सेंस, because you know what happens is there is some amount of complacency which sets in. These vacating the bunkers, you know, us altitude pe if you are occupying those features, it was an unsaid rule. When the snow starts falling, you know, you vacate those posts and come back. So does the Pakistanis. They vacate their post and go back. And once the snow starts melting, we reoccupy our respective posts. This has been happening for ages together, for decades together. And there was some amount of complacency which had set in. And there was again, not blaming anything, not giving any excuses, but we should know. 97, 98 maybe had carried out nuclear blast. So had Pakistan 14 days later, they also carried out nuclear blasts. And the entire, then Vajpayee ji wanted, he did Lahore bus diplomacy, he wanted better relations so that, you know, the international sanctions, you know, we somehow were tied over that crisis because of the nuclear blast, there were a lot of international sanctions on us. So we wanted to tide over that. And and the Indian government probably thought, what's the best opportunity? Why not, you know, this crisis को friendship में बदला जाए? That's how Vajpayee ji went across the border, met Nawaz Sharif there. When all this was happening, there was some amount of complacency which had set कि मतलब अभी तो हालात अच्छे हो रहे, अभी तो हालात अच्छे हो रहे, हम बंकर छोड़ के सालों से ये चल रहे. That is where, you know, some elements took advantage of that. As a matter of fact, अगर आपको पता, पाकिस्तान की हिस्ट्री में डेमोक्रेटिकली इलेक्टेड गवर्नमेंट को हटा के an army ruler declares himself as the president of Pakistan. It has happened 4 times. Not even once in India. So there is always the Pakistani army, the democratically elected government always want to play one hand up. They always at loggerheads. They always are there to prove to themselves who has got the upper hand.
अभी भी वही हुआ है क्या? Like ऑपरेशन सिंदूर में भी फिर से वही हुआ. One basically accepted and suddenly the fire continues.
Yeah. एक they have got their रावलपिंडी में उनका ये है आर्मी हेडक्वार्टर है. तो they say कि मतलब people not only go to Islamabad, the dignitaries who come, they just don't pay to go to Islamabad to meet the president there. They go to army headquarters as well. बिकॉज वो नाराज हो जाएंगे, पता नहीं कल को क्या करेंगे ये, वट एवर नो अग्रीमेंट्स वी साइन विद द गवर्नमेंट, द आर्मी टुमारो माइट से नो हेल बॉस, मतलब यू हैव डन इट विद द गवर्नमेंट, वी आर नॉट, वी डोंट हैव एनी ऑब्लिगेशंस टू नो अडियर टू दैट. ये है सिस्टम. दैट्स व्हाई दे ऑलवेज से कि एवरी नेशन हैज एन आर्मी, बट पाकिस्तानी आर्मी हैज a nation, it seems. That's the kind of domination they want to have. In Kargil War, what presumably happened was, when this, the friendship was, we are trying to build friendship, the army was feeling left out. They said कि boss ये क्या चल रहा है, मतलब we will lose our relevance. अगर ये मतलब everything is मतलब the country or the army is surviving क्यों ना fear factor, ये बोल के मतलब ये देखो हिंदुस्तान अपना दुश्मन है, अगर आर्मी नहीं रहेगा तो ये हमें खा जाएंगे. तो एक बस आर्मी ही है, पाकिस्तान आर्मी है जो आपको बचा सकता है, नहीं तो हिंदुस्तान कल को अटैक कर देगा. दैट इज द रेलेवेंस एंड दे वांट टू कीप दिस द प्रेशर ऑन कि मतलब भारत मुल्क जो है अपना दुश्मन मुल्क है, हम ही कंट्रोल कर सकते हैं उसको. दैट इज द नैरेटिव दे हैव बीन टेलिंग फॉर द पास्ट सिंस इंडिपेंडेंस. दे हैव बीन टेलिंग दिस टू देयर सिटीजंस, एंड द सिटीजंस आर सो फुलिश दैट वो उनकी बात मान भी रहे.
ये गुड कॉप बैड कॉप का खेल ये कब तक चलेगा? मतलब वी आर द अनफॉर्चुनेट नेबर्स एंड मतलब द होल वर्ल्ड इज पेइंग अ प्राइस इन देयर ओन वे.
It's time, although we have been late, although we have been very complacent, although we have been very कड़ी निंदा करते आ रहे इतने साल से, फिर हमने क्या किया, सर्जिकल स्ट्राइक किया, देन वी वेंट एंड हिट देयर एयर बेस, बालाकोट किया हमने. नाउ अ स्टेप फर्दर वी हैव डन दैट. आई डोंट थिंक टेररिज्म इज गोइंग टू एंड बाय दिस. हमने जो उनके टेरर कैंप्स हर्ट किए, वी हैव फायर्ड एट देयर एयर बेसेस, वी हैव डिस्ट्रॉयड देयर एयर बेसेस. Don't be under the impression that terrorism will कल समाप्त हो जाएगा, it's going to end tomorrow. No, it's not going to end. They will still continue doing this dirty trick. So but the fact that we have escalated the ladder and it's time to take it to a logical conclusion. When I say logical conclusion, that doesn't mean कि मतलब आप उसके ऊपर कल लड़ाई शुरू करता, ऐसा नहीं है. But exploit the conditions. There's nothing wrong in it. If Balochistan is boiling, let it boil. Give more fire to it. If Sindh is unhappy with Pakistan, if Sindh is unhappy with the Punjabis, exploit that. If Khyber Pakhtunkhwa is unhappy, they want separate, fire that as well. Keep that boiling. If Imran Khan has been the most popular leader, has been put to jail, their political party wants to come on the streets. Do a favor to them by making them come to the streets. Paralyze the country. Why not? We are not terrorists. We are not terrorizing people. We are not killing people.
But हम भी distractions रख के we will kind of.
Yes, बलूचिस्तान को separate करो. After that उसके बाद if they lose 40% of the land mass, बलूचिस्तान अगर separate हो गया, and it's just I feel it's just a matter of time when this is going to happen. And India should go all out. We should go all out to see to that around 40% of the land mass of Pakistan is separated and becomes a new nation. एक टाइम था जब हमने बांग्लादेश को सेपरेट किया, ये टाइम अभी आ चुका है कि बलूचिस्तान को सेपरेट करना चाहिए.
Wow. Sir, I think you touched upon a very important emotion today, which is patriotism. Your times were different and your commitment grid is still so green and till today, and just talking to you, we're like so charged. How should our commitment be towards the nation karke? Any word of advice, like how do we inspire youngsters today to join army, defense in general? Like how do we make it more aspirational? How do we encourage them ki yaar bhai aao idhar?
Rashmi, I think I have very different opinion to that. I don't think we should be even pondering upon this question. I'll tell you why. Defense में the selection rate is 1%. That means 99% of the people are not getting selected. That in turn means there is no dearth of defense aspirants who want to join the defense forces. There are hell lot of them who want to join the defense forces. And again, for the defense aspirants, I would like to tell, I have come across people who have attended 6 times, 7 times, 12 times they have attended. 12 times, obviously, if they attend SSB, they would be age barred. But right from ND attempts to SSB attempts, calculated, put together, they would have attempted, territorial army included, they would have attempted around 10, 12 times. Still, they don't get selected. That doesn't mean that person is not good for anything. It only means that he's not having those qualities what the army is looking for. He may be better at something else. So defense aspirants, firstly, there's no dearth of defense aspirants. People want to join. Secondly, people who don't get an opportunity, don't be disheartened. It doesn't mean you're not good for it. You may be good at something else, but the army is looking for something else.
Like, if I can build in the gap here, like, army में crack करना है तो what should be the quintessentials, like क्या prepare होके जाना है?
Prepare होके, मतलब I'll come to this preparation word from my personal experience, okay? I got selected in the very first attempt. Didn't have any defense background. Didn't have any clue when I went to service selection board, and fortunate enough I got it in Bangalore itself. When I went to SSB Bangalore, the day I reported there, शाम के मतलब 4-5 बजे रिपोर्ट किया होगा, 6 बजे was the deadline, कल से टेस्ट शुरू होना था. It was the tests were for 1 week followed by 1 week of medicals. 2 weeks का टेस्ट होता है, can you beat it? 2 week का टेस्ट होता है. First day is the screening. When I went there, when I saw people there, everybody were either from the defense background or they had come from some after attending coaching classes. 25-30 साल पहले, around 25-30 years back, southern part of India में कोई coaching classes नहीं होता था. उस टाइम पे इंटरनेट भी नहीं था, so that I could have educated myself. So I went as a raw candidate there, just walked into SSB not knowing what will be the first day, the second day, the third day, fourth day. I was clueless. But people were from defense background who had come properly trained. Now, if I analyze today why I got selected, whereas people who have undergone training did not get selected, because training में क्या होता है कि ये क्वेश्चन का ये आंसर है. If they ask this question, you have to give this answer. If they ask this question, you have to give this answer. Is what is tutored to them, and whatever has been tutored to you, people go and tell that. There is a psychologist sitting there just to assess this, कि whether what you are telling is from the heart, whether you mean it or somebody has taught you to tell this. I got selected because I was not tutored. I spoke from my heart. I meant what I said. So I don't say कि don't get yourself trained, but don't give those tutored answers. Speak from your heart. Be yourself. The best way of getting selected or increasing your chances is to be yourself. Be what you are. Project yourself as you are. Don't hide.
सवाल पूछते हैं, मतलब वो इंटरव्यू में फिजिकल टेस्ट, मेडिकल टेस्ट, वो सब ठीक है, ये साइकी टेस्ट करने के लिए क्या क्या पूछते हैं सर?
और इसे बोला ना कि मतलब 1 हफ्ते का टेस्ट होता है. इट्स लास्ट में जो प्रेसिडेंट का मतलब इट्स हैपेंस फॉर 5 days. The 6th day is the final interview. फाइनल इंटरव्यू में anybody and everybody who's interacted with you in whatever fashion, आपका ग्रुप डिस्कशन में होगा, आपने ग्रुप टास्क परफॉर्म किया होगा, आपको एक इमेज दिखाया जाता है, जस्ट अ फोटो, जस्ट अ इमेज. You have to write something about it. You are just shown a word, you have to write about it. So anybody and everybody who's evaluated you, who interacted with you, sitting there, and everybody would have graded you accordingly. And if there is a wide difference between the first person and the second person, they try to match it. Why is this difference? Does he have this quality? Doesn't have this quality? So everything put together, he selected. It is not that कि मतलब एक क्वेश्चन के ऊपर आप मतलब it's a whole set of factors. That's why the test is for a period of 6 days.
तो उधर सेलेक्ट होने के बाद क्या होता है?
एक हफ्ते का मेडिकल होता है. If you are totally medically fit, you sail through. There is something called temporary rejection also. Temporary rejection is मतलब you are overweight, but you have got a chance to get your weight in order and then report back. Certain amount of time is given.
Usually how much time? Like in terms of weight?
2 weeks.
Ah.
Yeah.
Like BMI proper, like basis your
proper
height.
BMI, yeah.
You have to
Yes,
be under.
yes.
Okay.
So मतलब in case you are able to get your weight in order before that time, you go and report. The doctor assesses you, he certifies you, you go and deposit it back, and you are through. 2 महीने के बाद आपको ज्वाइनिंग इंस्ट्रक्शन आएगा, डिपेंडिंग अपॉन द काइंड ऑफ कार्डर यू चूज, परमानेंट कमीशन, शॉर्ट सर्विस कमीशन, आपका ज्वाइनिंग इंस्ट्रक्शन आएगा. यू गो एंड रिपोर्ट टू इंडियन मिलिट्री एकेडमी डेहराडून, और यू गो टू ऑफिसर्स ट्रेनिंग एकेडमी चेन्नई, and then train yourself and then join the defense forces.
That brings to my next question, sir. South Indians ka participation, how was it before and how is it now? As in defense mein, because I think regiments ka naam, when I see it, it is very community driven. Like some are like Jat ka community driven names hai, area driven names hai. I think South ka Madras regiment hai. Usko chhod ke, I mean, I'm a Kannadiga and I mean so are you. We both know that Coorg is a hub, Kodagu, wherein lot of people go to the defense and stuff, right? So yeah, I mean, what is the scene now? What was it before, and how do you think things have changed over the years?
You see, जैसे आपने बताया जाट रेजिमेंट का हो गया, राजपूत रेजिमेंट हो गया, पंजाब रेजिमेंट हो गया, सिख रेजिमेंट हो गया. इट वॉज मोर टू गेट द कोहेजन अमॉन्ग्स द, अगर एक ही एरिया से सेलेक्ट करेंगे, एक ही एरिया से रहेंगे लोग, तो मतलब दैट बेटर कोऑर्डिनेशन, बेटर कैमराडरी, बेटर अंडरस्टैंडिंग विल बी देयर, एंड एज अ टीम दे विल बी एबल टू परफॉर्म बेटर. सदर्न पार्ट ऑफ इंडिया में था कूर्ग रेजिमेंट, किसी एक ज़माने में होता था. इट्स इट डज नॉट एग्जिस्ट एनी मोर. देयर इज नथिंग कॉल्ड अ कूर्ग रेजिमेंट एग्जिस्टिंग एज ऑफ नाउ. इट वन वे इट इज़ फॉर द सोल्जर्स, इट्स बेनिफिशियल, बट ऑफिसर्स के लिए ऐसा नहीं होता है कि मतलब आप अगर इफ़ यू बिलोंग टू पंजाब यू विल गो टू पंजाब रेजिमेंट ओनली. ऐसा नहीं है. सिख कैन कमांड अ जैकलाई बटालियन. जैकलाई बटालियन में जम्मू एंड कश्मीर, आई एम फ्रॉम जम्मू एंड कश्मीर rifles. There's something called Jammu and Kashmir light infantry also. It has a mix of Hindus as well as Muslims. So you will find a Sikh gentleman, Sikh officer, commanding officer, commanding Jammu and Kashmir light regiment, or a Tambi, or for a Madrasi, or like a Kannadiga Naga battalion को command कर रहा होगा. So that the jawans को उधर pick up करते just for better cohesion. Otherwise we don't really three things are told to us. The first thing is don't talk about politics. Second thing is don't talk about religion. Third thing is don't talk about women. अगर ये तीनों नहीं करेंगे ना, आप झगड़ा ही नहीं होगा. फौज में अगर आप देखोगे, मतलब वाई मतलब you have never seen communal rights happening in the defense force. Why? Because we don't distinguish between the North Indian, South Indian, Sikh, Isai, Muslim, Hindu. There is no differentiation.
Only one religion.
Only one religion, that's the nation.
Yes,
तो मतलब you will be surprised to see, मतलब एक पंडित होगा तो वो he will be मतलब गुरुद्वारे में बैठा होगा, he will be conducting. I have attended this thing. I have gone to, we have something called Sarva Dharma Sthal. We don't have a temple. It is in one complex. You will have a mandir, you will have a masjid, you will have a church. And any festival, it is celebrated together. It doesn't matter कि मतलब उसमें एक ही बंदा क्रिश्चियन है तो इसलिए हम ये नहीं करेंगे, ऐसा नहीं है. तो if it's a festival, even if one person is there, everybody goes there.
So today South Indians काफ़ी हैं.
बहुत है. एज अ मैटर ऑफ फैक्ट आई वांटेड टू ब्रिंग आउट दिस पॉइंट. अब बीच में छूट गया था. यंगस्टर्स की अगर हम बात कर रहे थे कि मतलब ज्वाइन होते हैं, व्हाट हाउ इट शुड बी मोर मेड मोर अट्रैक्टिव सो दैट यंगस्टर्स ज्वाइन. तो पीपल आर ऑलरेडी ज्वाइनिंग, बट एट द सेम टाइम व्हाट आई वुड लाइक टू कम्युनिकेट, अपने ज़माने में व्हेन आई वाज स्टडिंग इंजीनियरिंग एंड आसपास के टाइम पे देयर वाज अ जनरल नोशन दैट यंगस्टर्स के बारे में आप बात करो, ये तो कॉलेज जाते हैं, बाइक चलाते हैं, दारू पीते हैं, सिगरेट पीते हैं, दे आर नॉट इनटू एनी. But the things, Rashmi, I tell you, things have really, really changed for better. I come across so many youngsters. I go to a lot of colleges for motivational talks वगैरह. उनसे जब interact करता हूँ, people approach me for SSB interviews, for guidance. When I see their post, when I see their this thing Insta page, they have so much of concern for the society, for the nation. बहुत ही ज़्यादा inclination है towards the society, towards the nation. They want to contribute. They just don't know how to express it, how to do it. It's our duty. It's you and me who should guide them in the proper way. This is how you should do it. I'll tell you, you can produce wonderful results with these youngsters. They are charged up. They are motivated, wanting to do something for the nation, but probably they don't want to know how to do it.
Like, you just have to give them the direction. They will walk it.
Yes, you'll have to just lead them. अगर आप थोड़ा सा उनको रास्ता बता दो ना, they can do wonders.
All the way we did speak about your experiences, the way you've looked at life from a captain's lens. Now, how's your personal life, sir? क्या चल रहा है life में? What's keeping you busy these days?
Okay, once I was medically boarded out, once I left the army, I was very young then, 23, 24 I joined, 26, 27 I got, I was out of, the first innings was over, I was getting pension, but, I can't live on pension, I was just 26, 27 then, when I was, एक month army का tenure complete ही हो चुका था, I was out of the army. Injury to my legs, uncertainty all over. So I wrote my UPSC exams. I was an engineer. I was a mechanical engineer before I joined the forces. So I wrote my
Right.
UPSC, Indian Engineering Service exams. God has always been kind to me. मैंने फौज ज्वाइन करने की इच्छा रखा था, भगवान ने वो भी पूरा कर दिया. मुझे लड़ाई लड़ना था. I wanted to see combat, hard combat. I wanted to see. I got an opportunity. What better opportunity than Kargil War? I could do that. Could do whatever little bit I could do. When I came out, I wrote my UPSC exams. Got through in the first attempt. Joined as assistant executive engineer. Served for 21 years. I served up to the rank of superintendent engineer. अभी 10-12 साल और बचा होता है. I could have easily become a chief engineer. बहुत बढ़िया जॉब था. Imagine superintendent engineer in central government is a very good post. आज के डेट में जूनियर इंजीनियर के लिए लोग लड़ाई लड़ते. I was a superintendent engineer. I joined as AEE.
Wow.
But somewhere down the lane I felt कि मतलब I have done something for the nation. I've taken care of my family. Somewhere I felt कि मतलब society के लिए कुछ किया ही नहीं मैंने. तो I took VRS. I quit that job. It's been 1 year now. I quit that job. I have some aims. I have some, something lined up. Nothing concrete has happened. That's why I'm not, revealing it too much. Want to do something for the society purely on a service basis. I don't have too much of aspirations. As I told you, when I saw tricolor on 4875, I felt कि I've lived my life. I don't want anything in my life now. So I've gone to that stage where, I know कि मतलब what is life, what is happiness, what is achievement. I've seen everything. So now what I want to do is, affect at least 100 families wherein, I can able to relieve their pains. There are certain plans. Probably in the years to come, God has been kind. He'll hold my hand now also. I'll be able to do something towards the society. That's my aim as of now.
If I can ask you, what is life? How would you handle that question?
मैं एक जाते जाते एक शेर भी सुनाऊं.
Yes, sir.
लाइफ ज़िंदगी के बारे में ने पूछा तो मैंने एक अच्छी तरह से पढ़ा था कि मतलब वो मुझे बहुत साल पहले पढ़ा था विच इज़ गॉट इनग्रेन्ड इनटू माय माइंड. ज़िंदगी गम है, गम में दर्द है, दर्द में मज़ा है और मज़े में हम हैं.
Oh, wow.
हमने दर्द भी देख लिया,
क्या बात.
गम भी देख लिया, तो उसी में मज़े ढूंढ रहे हैं. एंड ज़िंदगी बहुत मज़े से कट रहा है. Very happy the way things, there are a lot of people who tell me, Naveen, how unfortunate you are. There are a lot of people who tell me, you trained for 1 year, served for 6 months, in the hospital for 21 months in the hospital. And for the rest of your life, you had to limp. I'm still limping. मतलब it cannot be normal. It cannot be absolute normal. तो हो ही नहीं सकता. So people call me unfortunate. I call myself the most fortunate. I have never considered myself unfortunate. I'm the most fortunate person. Got opportunity wherever I wanted to do something, God has always helped me. It was given to me on a platter. What else you require from life?
बहुत
If
मजा आया.
I would like to know, there is nothing I would like to change. If I have to relive my life, I would like to live the same way I've lived. No regrets, absolutely. I would like to relive the same life again and again and again.
Wow. सिर्फ टांग टूटा है सर, स्पिरिट नहीं.
बिल्कुल.
तो बहुत मज़ा आया. आई थिंक लास्टली हाँ सब कुछ वी स्पोक. लुक्स लाइक मनी डजंट मोटिवेट यू.
Not a bit.
एंड भगवान के बारे में आपका इरादा क्या है? ऑब्वियसली बिकॉज दिस इज़ अ वर्ल्ड वी आर नाउ क्वेश्चनिंग डेस्टिनी है क्या या मैनिफेस्टेशन. मतलब am I manifesting and creating my own path या ऑलरेडी तय हो चुका है and I'm just kind of being a pawn. In your opinion, humble opinion, what is it?
See, when I think about my life, the first part of the life, the first half, I am a South Indian, not having any sort of a defense background, wanted to join the defense forces. People don't get selected even after 10-12 attempts. I get selected in the first attempt. I go to a unit which was based in Jammu and Kashmir. When I joined, within a span of 4 to 5 months, the war happens. I was posted at a unit that was called to be part of the Kargil War. Then I participate in the war. My commanding officer was not willing to send me, but I volunteer. I go to the battle, fight the battle. The Indian Army lost 527 soldiers. The grenade blasted so close to me. I survived. I survived to tell the tale. So, when I analyze all of this, I really feel it's all destined. I was destined to join the defense forces. I was destined to fight the Kargil War. I was destined to get injured. I was destined to sit here and discuss the stories of soldiers in front of everybody.
सर आपका स्टोरी सुन के मेरे आँख में बहुत बार आंसू आ चुका है, आपने देखा होगा. इट इज़ जस्ट रेजिस्टिंग, इट्स कमिंग आउट एंड ऑलमोस्ट गोइंग इन. आप अपने लाइफ को फिर से रिफ्लेक्टिंग एंड लुकिंग बैक, एक बार भी आपके आँख में आंसू नहीं आया? मतलब क्या यू लाइक
वो probably सूख गए. I've gone through so much. I've seen life at a very tender age. In my own unit, I've lost 2 officers, 15 other ranks. At that age, at that service bracket, I've seen so much, I've endured so much, I've gone through so much. I don't even wish this upon the enemy. I don't even wish that the enemy should go through this. But yes, as I told you, if I got an opportunity, I would like to relive the life again.
Keep going, sir. You're truly an inspiration and a story and a story to remember and a spirit to probably be infected with, through which we should look at our journeys further. And until next time, I think you play golf. Looks like, right?
I do.
आपका
How do you know, by the way?
आपका पूरा इंटरव्यू बैठ के पूरा मैंने I kind of have gone through
Okay.
all of it. So, what are your current life curiosities?
Trying to understand life, that's all. I play golf, I do my yoga, love driving. My wife is also a keen traveler. She also drives. So, I started enjoying small things in life. Just a morning cup of tea, sitting together, and without a care in the world कि मतलब मुझे 9 बजे वहाँ पे जाना है, 10 बजे यहाँ पे जाना है, ये मीटिंग अटेंड करना है. Since I have quit my job, so I have started enjoying very small things. Not being very romantic, but just holding my wife's hand, going for a walk, going outside, in dhabe mein khana kha ke aage. All those things, small things in life, we generally we don't give any weightage to this, any value to that.
क्योंकि हम चेज ही कर रहे हैं ना कि वो चाहिए ये चाहिए, तो
बिल्कुल दौड़ ही रहे मतलब the पता नहीं मतलब everybody is in a hurry, everybody is moving fast, reaching nowhere, पता ही नहीं कहाँ जाना है, लेकिन भाग सब रहे. तो I'm happy the way I'm living my life, not a care in the world, not too much of aspirations, मतलब मुझे ये करना है, ये बंगले लेना है, ये कार लेना है. I'm out of this rat race, because as I told you, I've seen the worst which could have happened. The very fact that I'm grateful that I'm alive today. I'm sitting here, I'm talking to you. I have my wife is there with me, my daughter is there, a whole lot of friends are there, good well-wishers are there. Enjoy every little bit of time, whatever is left. These are precious times. I could have lost that. I would have never seen this. But yes, God has given me this time to relive the second life. So I'm enjoying every bit of it.
Amazing, sir. Lastly, can I request you to nominate 3 guests whom we should be inviting for Just Curious from any walks of life?
Okay, let me. Can I request you something as well?
Yes, sir.
Okay. You see, since I'm an army personnel, I would rather restrict myself to the army guys only. हम लोग ना there is a general tendency, because the officers का क्या होता है, they are social, They are, they know how to conduct, they know how to talk, they come on platforms, they get platforms, they get space. But however, jawans ko ye benefit nahi hota. There are a lot of jawans who have done incredible jobs. Soldiers. So one officer, I as an officer led 120 men. So I was one officer, but 120 men have contributed immensely in the battle. Similarly, in any field, any unit, any regiment, any battalion, there will be in Karnataka also, there would be many soldiers who have done exceedingly well. Probably they have not got a platform. उनको अगर बहुत लोगों से अगर आप पूछोगे ना कि अगर आपने गन पकड़ना है या माइक पकड़ना है, दिल से कि गन ही पकड़ेंगे साहब, माइक में तो डर लगता है. बट स्टिल आपको ऐसे लोगों को यहाँ पे बुलाना चाहिए. तो वो है अनसंग हीरोज. कारगिल में हम कितने लोगों को जानते हैं कि मतलब कुछ गिने चुने लोगों को जानते हैं हु हैव मार्टियर्ड, हु हैव गॉट अवार्ड्स, उनको जानते, मोस्ट ऑफिसर्स को जानते. बट बाकी 500 लोग जो सोल्जर्स है, तो जवान्स थे जिन्होंने कंट्रीब्यूट किया, कोई नहीं जानता उनको. तो maybe I'll take some time and then revert to you whom I can call, since your platform is in Kannada as well. Kannada ದಿಗೋರು ಭಾಳ ಜನ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ, ಕರ್ನಾಟಕದವರು ಸುಮಾರು ಜನ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. Maybe they have achieved, they have done an amazing job. ಭಾಳನೇ ಅಚೀವ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಇದೆ. The service, the army probably has already recognized. Let the people of Karnataka, let the people of India know the stories of soldiers as well.
Absolutely.
I'll revert back to you probably with some names, then you can bring them on this platform.
So, not all heroes wear medals, but you have clearly, in silence, worn scars proudly.
Yes.
And definitely, sir, I will host them once you share the recommendation. And now, until next time, there's a gift from us, which is a book, which is going to add a lot of thoughts, perspectives to your life. I'm not sure if you've read this book. This is a book called The Body Keeps the Score.
Oh, wonderful. Okay, I've not read it.
Yeah, it's about how the mind, brain and the body transforms through a trauma.
Okay.
So, like the title goes, the body is keeping the score of all these traumas, be it something related to the mind, physical traumas. So, probably very small books, huh? That's for you. Anyway, you are enjoying your sip of coffees and you don't have any time to chase meetings to attend.
Absolutely.
While you are
No
enjoying
deadlines, I'll enjoy the book reading.
Sure. What was your name? Like how Vikram had Shersha and yeah.
I have a code name. A book is being released on that name. So I've been told to, until that book is released, not to be revealed.
Oh. And also, who comes up with these codes?
We decide
Like
on our
he had Dil Mange More and the other officer
Achha,
had...
the success signal.
Yeah. What was that?
We call Ye Dil Mange Mer, Oh Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So who codes all of this? You all?
The success signal you have to select. The code name is decided.
So we look forward to the name that, the secret name,
that will
which
be
is...
the title of the book, which will be, you'll get to know.
Surely, sir. So, yeah, dear Naveen sir, I'm charged hearing your life story, and you have inspired us to live daringly and responsibly. Until next time, salute, sir. And honestly, thank you so much for giving us your opportunity.
Wonderful interacting with you.
How was Just Curious English, Just Curious India for you, sir? How was it?
It was wonderful being on this platform. Glad that you gave me this platform so that I can reach out to a lot of people who would be watching this, just to make them aware how the Kargil battle was fought, what is the pain agony of a soldier. I'm glad that you gave me this opportunity and very happy that got this opportunity.
It's mutual, sir. So there you go. Yeah. And for the man who's had such a hot, cool, inspiring life, here's some love from Polar Bear. It's Sunday love, sir. This is for you.
Thank you so much.
Bye. I mean, please don't yell at us. We are giving you a lot of fat for a fit war veteran. So nice. Please do enjoy these treats.
For sure. My wife rather loves eating ice cream. My daughter also, but unfortunately she's in Trivandrum now.
Oh, what's your daughter doing?
She's doing her medicals.
Oh,
first year, yeah.
All right. I guess today's episode has definitely thrown some light as to how certain lives are led, their success stories, bravery, perspectives about life, all of it shining through Captain Naveen Nagappa's journey. So, guys, how was our episode? Do let us know in the comment section as to आपका aha क्या बात है moments क्या था. So yeah, please don't mind my Hindi, me being a South Indian. Yeah, I think this is a time where India is literally blurring all the borders, right? All thanks to social media. And do give us all the support and love. And until next time, of course, continue to stay curious. This is your RJ Rapid Rashmi signing out of another wonderful and inspiring episode of Just Curious India with one and only Captain Naveen Nagappa sir. Salute, sir.
Thank you so much. Jai Hind.
Jai Hind.